Theo Thompson claims his cousin ordered the wrong size tent for their family reunion, so he had to scramble to make it right. Roman Prater says the original tent was extra like his cousin, so he got the right one instead.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Thank you.
Good morning,
Please
Your
be
Honor.
seated. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
Let's try that one more time. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
All right, that's more like it. This is the case of Thompson versus Prater. Mr. Thompson, you are suing Mr. Prater, your cousin,
Yes.
for $2,200 for expenses relating to your family reunion. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your
Oh,
Honor.
boy. How did we get here? I want to start with you, Mr. Thompson.
Okay, well, like you said, I am suing the defendant who happens to be my little cousin, who's actually like a little brother to me. Every year, if not every year, every other year, we try to have a family reunion. We have a huge family. We love on one another. We like to get together. We like to sip. We like to eat.
That's what we do at family reunions.
That's exactly what we do.
Yes.
And we tend to do it well. You know, sometimes things go astray, but we're family. That's how things happen. But this year, the family appointed me to run the family reunion committee. So I'm responsible for delegating different tasks and everything. And because my cousin slash little brother, Roman, is good with money, he has an accounting degree, he has his own business, his own barbershop business. He's very
Nice.
responsible.
All right.
You know, and I'm very proud of the work that he's done. You know what I'm saying? So I decided to ask him to be the treasurer for the family reunion committee, and he agreed. So we got together. I went through the checklist of everything that we needed for the family reunion. And for this year, everybody's responding, about 200 family members. So because of that number, I told him we need at least a 40 by 60 size tent that's going to house and fit about 200 people, plus extra room in case people bring, you know, their guests or whatever, because, you know, we like to eat. You know, we like
Yes.
the ribs, we like the potato salad, we like all of that, the mac and cheese, all of that.
Yes, some corn
So-
on the cob.
That too, with a lot of butter
Yes.
and pepper.
Yes,
You
yes.
know, so, you know, we went through the checklist. He assured me that he would have everything in tow for the family reunion. So to my surprise, when I go to the venue on the morning of the family reunion.
Well, I want to be clear now.
Yes, ma'am.
So you agreed to a 40 by 60 tent.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's what you needed.
Yes.
All right, and I want to be clear, Mr. Prater, you remember your cousin, Mr. Thompson, saying we need a 40 by 60 tent.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to come to you in 1 second. Take me to the moment you come to the family reunion. What happens?
So I arrived at the venue, Your Honor, and immediately I'm flabbergasted because I have a construction business. So I can look at things and I can tell if it's of sufficient size or not. And I knew instantly that was not a 40 by 60. So I'm not gonna lie, Your Honor, I'm irritated. I'm a little disappointed because I know his track record. He handles his business, so I couldn't understand what went wrong here in the lines of communication.
All right, so did you call him?
Immediately, Your Honor, I'm calling him. It's going to voicemail. I'm sending him text messages. Yo, cuz, hit me back. We have a problem. We have an issue. Nothing, Your Honor. So what do I have to do? Being the businessman that I am as well, I have to run behind him. I'm rushing, contacting different businesses to see if they can accommodate what we need last minute.
And so you started looking for another tent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you find one?
I did. About the fourth business that I contacted, thank God they had what we needed at that time. I had to come out of pocket for these expenses.
Because the other tent was bought from the family reunion funds.
Correct.
All right. I want to go to your cousin, Mr.
Yes.
Prater, and I want to give you a chance to respond because Mr. Thompson says he counted on you to get the 40 by 60 tent, which was going to be paid for out of the family reunion funds, but you came up short, literally and figuratively, because the tent wasn't large enough, right?
Correct.
So tell the court what happened why did you decide on getting a smaller tent instead of the one he asked for?
Well,
or that you decided on, because you admitted that you agreed to that?
Right. Well, Your Honor, being that this is my first year being in charge or treasurer, we want to be able to accommodate for a big family that we have. It's out in Florida. Most of us are from Atlanta. Most of us from 50-50. But so we want to come in and do our thing. So basically, I've seen in the past years that a lot of people, we have 200 people saying that they're coming or whatever, but only like 120, 150 come. So it's like we have more than what we need. He's always extra. The whole family knows he's extra. Everybody knows he's extra, so by us being here is extra, so.
Coming up.
The tent is $1,700. You suing for $2,200. What's the other $500 for?
Because he broke my nose, Your Honor. He sucker punched.
Oh, Lord.
Sucker punch?
He sucker punched me when it was a nudge, cuz.
Who blames his cousin Roman Prater for messing up their family reunion.
So in your past experience, you plan for all these people and then a lot of them don't show.
Correct.
All right, I get that. I've also been there on the family reunion planning committee, and it is not easy because sometimes people have good intentions about coming, then they got to get off work. So in your estimation, having a financial background, you said, what, I can just make this work with a smaller tent and spend less money?
So that's why I chose to get the 30 by 30, and I feel like it turned out well. But when everything gets to, a heated, situation, then he comes into my space and start getting physical with me. That's when everything makes a left turn.
All right, now I want to get to the left turn, and I get that. You're being frugal, you think you're being fiscally responsible. When you go to order the tent, you see the difference in price, and you say to yourself, I'm gonna just make this call. The 30 by 30 will be enough. We're saving $675. That's significant.
Yes.
And this is what we're going to do. So now the family reunion obviously goes off well until, like you said, it goes left.
Yes.
Take me back to the point where it goes left, Mr. Thompson.
Okay, so I didn't want to run a family reunion, so I wanted to wait till the end, toward the end. And that's when I
Are you extra? That's what I want to know.
I can be extra, Your Honor.
Okay.
I can be extra. I can take accountability for
Overly
that.
extra.
Not a little extra, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm saying I admitted it, so I just wanted you to admit it in open court.
Yes,
but
Your
I
Honor.
already could tell.
Okay.
But just so you said it in open court. All right.
Yes, Your
so
Honor.
you were extra.
Yeah,
And
yes.
so how did it go left?
Okay, so I presented him, I said, cuz I had the invoice from my purchase that I made out of my pocket.
And do
I
you
had
have that invoice here?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it.
I'll take that.
Go ahead, keep going.
Okay, so I showed him the invoice, and I reminded him on what we agreed when we went down the checklist. And so I basically told him, cuz you need to come up out your pocket and reimburse me for the money I came out my pocket because you didn't follow the guidelines that we both agreed to. So I tried to hand him the invoice. He didn't want to take it. So that irritated me even more, Your Honor. So I took the invoice and I kind of nudged him a little bit.
Not a nudge.
Because what happened, Mr. Prater said the tent he ordered was sufficient. You still felt like when it was all said and done that you needed the larger tent.
I do, Your Honor, because we had some extra people to show up, because people like to be a little extra sometimes.
Yeah.
So people brought, their friends or,
Unexpected.
Exactly.
All right.
So, and I can understand his logic behind the financial part about it, but don't just go and make an executive decision like that without confirming it with me because I am the head of the family reunion committee. I brought him in as the treasurer, so at least have a conversation
He's
with
giving
me.
Big Brother energy right now.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, but go ahead.
Yeah, so that's where my issue came in.
All right,
Your
so
Honor.
how did it go left?
Okay, so when I nudged him to give him the invoice, because he didn't want to take it the first time, I don't know, I guess he thought I was being too aggressive or trying to attack him. But it was just like, a little nudge, like, here, you're going to take this invoice.
It was not a nudge.
And it was.
It most definitely wasn't. You extended your arm. That's a push. It's a shove. It's not a nudge.
So you felt like when he went to hand you that invoice, it was aggressive. Did it hit your person? Did it hit you somewhere when he handed it to you?
First of all, when he came to hand me the invoice, he didn't come to initially hand it to me. He came with a high tone of voice and being very disrespectful, trying to belittle me in front of the family. He was doing a lot. He tried to tell me that, he asked me, can I do simple math? And he got all our grandmothers and our family there and everything. It made me feel disrespected as a man. And I told him, like, watch your mouth or things is going to get crazy, because at the end of the day, I'm a man too. You know, like, you may be older than me and everything, but I will get with you too if that come down to it, especially at the family reunion.
Yeah.
So he came, I pulled up.
That's aggressive.
Being that everything was going on throughout the day, you know, I admit I was doing a lot earlier in the day too. When he was calling me, I was not picking up. That's only because I was going around accommodating for our family, driving around to hotels and wherever they had to go, because a lot of people coming from out of town, you know?
Yeah.
This was your job.
We have a cousin, Ray, who's supposed to be in charge of transportation and logistics and everything. He called me to ask for backup, you know, so I thought maybe I'm gonna hit him up later, you know, and tap in with him later and explain everything. And then
So you thought you'd talk about it later,
Yes.
but Mr. Thompson, you want to talk about it now because you had spent this
Exactly.
money on this tent that you thought was unnecessary. Get me to the money. The tent is $1,700. You suing for
Yes.
$2,200. What's the other $500 for?
Because he broke my nose, Your Honor. He sucker
Oh,
punched
Lord.
me.
sucker punch.
He sucker punched
You
me
saw
when
me.
I
had to defend
it was
myself.
a nudge, cuz.
No.
It was a nudge, and he
So
sucker
you
punched me.
he sucker punched you in the nose, broke your nose. You had
Yes,
to
Your
go
Honor.
to urgent care.
I did. I had to go to the emergency room. He messed up my nice nose. I liked my nose.
Coming up,
Plus, I can't get my deposit back
That's your
from
fault.
the tent because when he sucker punched me, I fell back on the tent. It ripped, so it was damaged.
we're back with the case of Theo Thompson, who blames his cousin Roman Prater for messing up their family reunion.
And it was
You know?
$500 for
Yes, Your
your
Honor.
medical expenses on that day because
Yes,
of that.
Your Honor. And plus, I can't get my deposit back
That's your
from
fault.
the tent because when he sucker punched me, I fell back on the tent. It ripped, so it was damaged.
That's your fault.
So you took a damaged tent back.
Yes, Your Honor,
The
and
tent-
couldn't get my deposit back either.
So that the $1,700 was what you paid.
Yes,
There
Your
was
Honor.
a portion of that you were going to get back when you returned it, but you didn't.
Yes.
Because it was damaged.
Damaged, yes,
So
Your
you're
Honor.
basically asking for the total cost of the rental of the tent
Yes, Your Honor.
and then also your medical expenses.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, this is what I
think
see
it's fair.
here. And I've listened to this story thoroughly because I really want to understand, because family dynamics are difficult.
It can be,
It's not
yes.
always easy, and I don't know what it is. I mean, you got the potato salad, the corn on the cob, all the food, everything set up, but it seems like a family reunion is never complete without a family feud.
That's right.
And that's a problem. But what I see here is that although you dislike the fact that your young cousin, little brother, made the unilateral decision to order a smaller tent, you then made a unilateral decision to go and order a larger tent.
Exactly.
Because you're extra, you wanted what you wanted, you had a vision for what you wanted the family reunion to look like, and the truth is you felt like he let you down, or he, broke authority, he didn't do what you asked, and that bothered you.
Coming up,
Him punching you in the nose and turning into a, first of all, y'all all tired, probably done full of heat all day, worn out, exhausted. It was a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
And unfortunately, a fight happened that was unnecessary.
we're back with the case of Theo Thompson, who blames his cousin Roman Prater for messing up their family reunion.
You also, I can understand, were nervous about the amount of people and you wanted to pull this off. I get this, right? But I always say, listen, and I say it to myself, sometimes my high expectations lead me to high expenses. Because I'm the only one that has expectations that are through the roof, and most people are thinking differently. Maybe trying to save money in areas, maybe thinking about where we could tweak things. So the expense that you incurred was based upon your desire to have a larger tent. You had a tent, and the tent was paid for from the funds. Nobody owes you any money for the tent.
Okay.
Now, as for the medical expenses, right? You admit that you were up in his face. You also admit that when you went to give him this, you touched his person with the invoice, right?
Yes.
Now that may not have been your intent to assault someone, but when you're coming at somebody arguing and yelling and you come to them with your hand, right? A person has a right to defend themselves. Him punching you in the nose and turning into a, first of all, y'all all tired, probably full of heat all day, worn out, you know, exhausted. It was a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
And unfortunately, a fight happened that was unnecessary. Now, you say this to your little brother. You say this is like a little brother to you. He's your cousin.
Yes.
He looks up to you.
Yes.
I'm going to give you an opportunity before I rule, and I want to ask you, do you or do you not really want to sue your little cousin, your little brother over $500 that you all really know that you could have resolved the same saga or situation in a different way?
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
He was trying to not talk about it that day and wait until everything was over, but you insisted on dealing with it that day. Do you feel like you have a part to play in that?
Hearing your comments, Your Honor, yes, I can take accountability for my actions. And no, I don't want to sue my cousin, little brother.
Good.
You know,
I'm so glad you said that. Because the truth is, I wasn't going to award you any money anyway, because if somebody comes at me with a fist and I think something about to happen, then I have a right to defend myself. But I'm glad you said it in open court, because that's what he needed to hear, and that's the resolution we need. And I'm going to close today with your own words, Mr. Thompson, because when you opened up your testimony, you said, sometimes things go astray, and I wrote it down. But at the end of the day, we're still family. And I hope you understand that, recognize that, and move accordingly. Be proud of yourselves for what you produce for your family, and don't bring this ridiculousness into your family, because it affects everybody. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
See, I told you, man, just trust me, man. Next time it'll be all better. We won't have to go through all this next time, you know?
You kind of right there, cuz.
Yeah.
I love you, man.
Yeah, love you too.
I like the way that sounds, man. Follow me out.
Soraya Matheson claims her son's daycare center was biased against him, punishing him more than the other children. Justine Banks says the plaintiff's son had behavioral issues, so he needed the extra discipline.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello. Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Matheson versus Banks. Ms. Matheson, you are suing Ms. Banks for $5,000 for the return of tuition. You say she was biased against your son. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And the defendant, Ms. Banks, you claim that plaintiff was difficult and always questioned you and your decisions. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'll start with you. Ms. Matheson, can you explain to the court what happened?
Absolutely. So I moved to Los Angeles from Dallas recently, and most of my family is in Dallas, and I don't have a lot of support or childcare here in Los Angeles. But I'm very particular about the way I raise my son. I'm very intentional about what I do. So it was a very big decision for me what childcare was provided and the daycare preschool that I put him in. Because I didn't know a lot of people, I asked my coworkers. I actually moved here for the job, which is why I moved to Los Angeles. And I asked my coworkers if they had any recommendations for a daycare or childcare for me to place my son in. They all highly recommended Mrs. Banks' daycare. I went to go visit the school. I talked to her quite a bit about her philosophy, and it seemed like it very closely matched mine. She talked about individualized attention to the children,
yes,
one-on-one care, right? Really meeting them where they are in their education. And I thought that really matches how I take care of my child.
How old is your child?
My child is 5 years old.
Okay.
And I even did a surprise visit to the school, and she seemed very warm. There was a child sitting in her lap, and she was reading stories to the child. So I was very excited to have my child go to this school.
Boy or girl?
A boy. And then the only thing, though, that I really noticed that I was concerned about was that the school was not very diverse. There weren't a lot of children of color, and every other school that my child has gone to has been diverse. And as a young black boy, I really wanted to make sure that he was in a diverse environment, but also an environment that was affirming to him as a child.
Did you bring that up with Ms. Banks?
Yeah, so one of the things I did bring up was that, but she really talked about, again, she didn't really see color, and she really looked at individualized attention for the children. I wasn't really satisfied with the answer, but because I didn't have a lot of options and I was moving pretty quickly, I decided that I was going to deprioritize that, especially because she had a lot of the other things I was looking for, and I did need him to be in a good and safe environment.
So
I thought
overall,
that would be, yeah.
as you looked at this particular center, you said, this is a good place where it aligns with my values. The only thing I don't like about it is there aren't a lot of other children of color.
That's correct.
Right?
Yes.
So, Ms. Banks, I'd like to go to you, and I'd like to hear from you.
For 15 years, I've ran my center, and I keep it a very low ratios so that the kids that come in are 10 to 15 kids max, and I have 4 full-time staff members, 1 part-time staff member. Now, I do that so we can individualize, so that we can give them the best support possible. It's 2 to 5-year-old children that we have, so we really gear what we provide based on their developmental level. So we are preparing our 5-year-olds more for preschool and for actual kindergarten. It's more like a preschool. What I said to her is that we don't look at color. You know, it's just a matter of basically if we're referred parents, we're referred children, they come in, they see our center, they want to sign up, they sign a contract. So I really, I don't base who I bring into my center based on color.
All right. So can you then explain, Ms. Matheson, what is it that created this issue as to why you're here at We the People?
Absolutely. And, you know, in retrospect, I really should have seen that as a red flag. In Dallas, we were a very diverse environment, and my son was always in diverse classes and has never had any behavioral issues. But as soon as he started at Ms. Banks' school, he started getting timeouts. He would come home and say, I got a timeout today, I got a timeout today. And then he told me that Ms. Banks yelled at him. Now, again, that does not seem appropriate for the daycare owner to be yelling at the kids. And so I asked him what was going on, and he said he didn't really know.
Coming up.
I noticed that Terrence was in timeout, and I asked Ms. Banks about the situation. No, my daughter was not put in timeout. The child who was biting was not put in timeout. I didn't understand what happened, and I thought that all the children should have been disciplined.
And later.
When I went to go change information with that other driver, he was screaming at me, telling me my backlights were not on, but he had a dash cam and he showed me the footage, and sure enough, my backlights were not on.
Soraya Matheson and daycare owner Justine Banks over a tuition refund.
I was very concerned, and I talked to him and I talked to her, and what he told me was that she wanted him to do things but was not explaining why. And so one of the things was she wanted him to go read, for example, and he would say, well, I read all of the books, I don't want to read them anymore, I want to do something else, and she would not explain or accommodate that in any way, which to me does not align with her ethos of meeting the child where they are, giving individualized attention, and helping them develop in the way they need to.
Actually, that's not exactly what happened.
Well, so okay, but you can tell your side of the story, but essentially, when I went and I spoke to her, what she told me was that my son had behavioral issues, he doesn't listen, and he asks why all the time. I said to her, that is normal behavior for a 5-year-old. And again, if what you prize, certainly not diversity, but if what you prize is individualized attention, you should be able to have enough time to focus on the child and explain to him so that he can understand what he needs to do and why.
All right. Do you feel like Ms. Matheson's son had behavioral problems? Did you report to her that he wasn't behaving appropriately at school?
Actually, I did. And what I saw right from the beginning was he had a difficult time with transitions. He would be doing a puzzle and he didn't want to stop doing the puzzle. And I'd say we were going to transition to another activity, and he'd say, why? And you know, in the beginning, I would begin to explain it to him. But when it happened repeatedly, I saw this as a behavioral problem. And I, you know, from what I've seen in my 15 years of working and having my center, is that, you know, this could stem from a problem with authority, or may further down the line become a problem with listening to authoritative figures and people that are, you know, in charge. I mean, in kindergarten, you have to follow a routine, you have to follow a schedule. And I explained that to Ms. Matheson, that we have consistency, we believe in stability and a schedule. And that is a good for a child's development at that age, and is what they need.
And so did you yell at her son when he did not do what you asked him to do?
I didn't exactly yell. I raise my voice at the kids now and then at times. I mean,
I can understand that for preschool.
Yes.
You
Yes.
definitely may have to be stern in the terms in terms of what you're asking them to do if they're not listening or they're very loud and you have to kind of settle them down. But were you yelling at him individually?
Well, I raised my voice at him after so many times of asking him to transition or, you know, him asking
Can I ask you something? As soon as you told me he was having trouble transitioning, I thought about a child who had just come to a new area, to a new school. There weren't a lot of people who looked like him, and maybe he was finding his safe place in this thing that engaged him, and maybe he didn't want to transition because he wasn't interested.
Well, the thing is if you let all children just do what they feel like doing at the moment, it's more like babysitting, basically. We're not able to teach them skills or structure a routine. So if I were to let him just sit and play with his puzzles and do what he wanted to do and not come to circle time, then there might be other children that would decide, well, I just want to do this instead. I mean, we do have a structure and a routine, and you know,
How quickly into his time there, how soon after you joined was he getting the timeouts and not transitioning?
Almost immediately. So I didn't hear about not transitioning. What I heard was that he was not interested in the activities that they had. So for example, when I asked him about the books, he said he had read them all. And that's absolutely true, because when I investigated, he had a lot of books that we had already read at home, and he wanted to read other books. I even went so far as to purchase other books to bring to the center for him to read, but the timeouts did not stop. And can I please call out, though, he has been in other daycare centers, and he has never gotten any feedback that he does not listen to authority or that he does not transition.
I'm interested to know, were there other children getting timeouts as frequently as her son?
No, not as frequently, and they've been there longer than a month. It's not that he is just brand new.
All right, I'd like to hear from your witness, Ms. Matheson. Ma'am, please stand. You've already been sworn in. State your name for the court.
Your Honor, my name is Christine Raven.
Thank you for being here, Ms. Raven. What would you like to add?
My daughter, Alicia, has always loved Terrence, and I'm here because...
Terrence is Ms. Matheson's son?
Yes,
okay.
yes. And I'm here because of a particular incident. There's a child that was biting the kids at the daycare, and my daughter, Alicia, and Terrence hit this child. I'm sure it was chaotic, but when I picked Alicia up from school that day, I asked her about what happened. She was upset, and I noticed that Terrence was in timeout, and Alicia told me that Terrence was in timeout, and I asked Ms. Banks about the situation. No, my daughter was not put in timeout. The child who was biting was not put in timeout, and I was very alarmed by this, and so I told Ms. Matheson that I didn't understand what happened, and I thought that all the children should have been disciplined.
How will Judge Lake rule? Tune in tomorrow for the exciting conclusion.
I immediately said, I am taking my child out. This is not a safe environment for him, and you need to give me my money back because I paid in advance.
I'd like to meet your son. Well, hello, Terrence. Welcome. How are you today?
Good.
Coming up,
We inspected every inch of that car down to its fluid.
And everything worked
Everything worked.
at that time?
At that time, it worked. That same night, we got rear-ended. And I went to go change information with that other driver. He was screaming at me, telling me my backlights were not on.
Errol Chambers claims he was sold a car with faulty brake lights, which caused him to be rear-ended the same day. Sergio Price says the plaintiff had plenty of time to examine the car and didn't have any concerns.
This is the case of Chambers versus Price. Mr. Chambers, you are suing Mr. Price for $2,322 because you say the defendant sold you a car with faulty brake lights. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Price, you say the plaintiff had plenty of time to look the vehicle over.
He did.
All right. How did you find out that Mr. Price had a car for sale?
I found him on Craigslist.
All right, and what kind of car was it?
It's a 2006 Dodge Magnum,
What was the price?
$7,000.
So, Mr. Price, you had this Dodge Magnum for sale. Were you at a dealer? Are you a used car dealer, or where were you selling it? On your home?
I'm not a dealer, ma'am. I was selling it at my house.
So you were selling it at your house?
Yep.
All right. And so Mr. Chambers comes. What happens?
Well, he's looking for a car and said his car that he had died. And he said he really liked the Magnum because it's like a hopped up station wagon. And He came, spent a couple hours at the house. My wife even came out with snacks, and we hung out for a couple hours, and we took the Magnum for a test drive, and he took his time looking it over and inspecting it top to bottom, and seemed to be pretty satisfied.
Did you look over the car, Mr. Chambers?
Yes, I did.
Top to bottom?
Top to bottom, down to the fuel.
You didn't see anything wrong with it?
No.
Coming up,
I was super sure the car was working. I just came out of, it was the same night. I just checked it. Nothing was wrong with it. But he had a dash cam, and he showed me the footage. And sure enough, my backlights were not on.
Did you bring that dash cam?
No, that was his.
we're back with the case of Errol Chambers, who is arguing with Sergio Price over faulty brake lights.
So what happened? You are petitioning the court because you say the car was faulty.
So when we left, my girlfriend and I, she was driving behind me. I went to my mother's house to show her the new purchase I had and have dinner. That same night, we got rear-ended. When I went to go change informations with that other driver, he was screaming at me, telling me my backlights were not on, just really rude with me, and I was super sure the car was working. I just came out of, it was the same night. We just checked it. Nothing was wrong with it, but he had a dash cam, and he showed me the footage, and sure enough, my backlights were not on.
Did you bring that dash cam?
No, that was his. I couldn't bring it.
All right, so Mr. Price, did you have any knowledge that the backlights weren't working?
Well, vague memory serves that it maybe had a flicker a long time ago, but I drove that car for years and it never gave me a problem.
Did anyone bring the ad of the car?
I did.
I'd like to see that.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll take all your evidence here. Thank you.
All right, so here's the listing. He's selling it, 75,000 miles, serious offers only. You don't say that the car is as is.
Well, it's a cash sale, Your Honor. I'm not a dealer, so there's no warranty, so.
So you asked, was there a warranty?
No.
What I don't understand is if you spent 2 hours over there, why not just call a mechanic or someone that knows how cars work to get an inspection? You could have done that, because this is a really great life lesson and legal lesson, right? Before you purchase something, before you sign a title over, before anything happens and you have the opportunity to inspect the vehicle, you have to do your due diligence.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Meanwhile, now you're mad because you say you bought a car with faulty brake lights.
Okay.
Why didn't you get the car inspected? Why didn't you want that extra protection?
Well, me and him inspected together.
You walked through the car together.
We walked through the car together. We inspected every inch of that car down to its fluids.
And everything worked?
Everything worked.
At that time?
At that time, it worked. The lemon law. I should be protected from it.
Right. And I know you felt that way. And that's probably why you didn't do your due diligence and get that added inspection. And unfortunately, Mr. Chambers, I have to tell you that the lemon law just applies to dealers, businesses. It does not, in the state of California, apply to private sellers, because private sellers can sell a car as is, and they don't even have to put the words as is on the advertisement. Do you understand?
Yes,
For that
ma'am.
reason, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Sorry, kid, gotta be in it to win it.
No, you're wrong, man. You know I ain't right. I'll see you on Craigslist again.
You ain't getting nothing.
Bet.
Yeah,
All right.
keep it up.
I will.
Yeah. Grow up, kid.
I will.
Follow me, please.
Gary Carter claims his co-worker still owes him after he bailed on a bachelor party trip because of his controlling wife. Cynthia and Luis Rodriguez say it's Mr. Carter's fault for changing destinations at the last minute.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Lauren Lake now presiding.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. This is the case of Carter versus Rodriguez. Mr. Carter, you are suing Mr. Rodriguez for $1,500. You say he skipped out on his portion of a bachelor party trip. Is that correct?
This is correct, Your Honor.
Explain to the court what happened.
So basically what happened here, my friend from work for 5 years, we've been knowing each other for quite a long time, so we have a trust with each other. I planned a trip for our friend Pete's bachelor party. Everybody was in agreement to go. He never sent me the money. He bailed out at the last moment, and he never sent the money to cover his parts of the expenses. The only communication I'm getting out of their whole household is a cease and desist letter. Because I went on
How did it get to a cease and desist letter?
That's what I'm saying.
Over a bachelor party trip?
No, the cease and desist letter is not over the bachelor party trip. The cease and desist letter is because I went onto a podcast speaking about a love guru, female ladies coach.
Relationship expert.
Oh,
I sent the cease and desist letter because he was slandering my name on a podcast, which he
I never said her
frequents.
name on the podcast, Your Honor.
Okay, but everybody knows while listening to this podcast, they both work together, and I'm the only one who's married to this man. And basically, I'm the only one on that podcast that's a relationship expert. So yes, he's putting my business and my family at risk by speaking about me.
Okay, so take me back to the bachelor party. You all are friends. You work together? Is that the testimony?
Yes.
How long have you known each other?
We've been knowing each other for over 5 years. Just about over 5. Yeah, we'll never be friends. I'm not seeking to be friends with you.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Can you not disrespect my wife,
But first of all,
please?
you need to have your wife not disrespect you as a man. You shouldn't even have on pants.
Disrespect?
She
All right,
should have on
let's
your
get
pants,
some
and you should have on her cardigan.
Let's get some order. Let's get some order. So you've known Mr. and Mrs. Rodriguez for how many years?
I've known Mr. Rodriguez for 5 years. They only got married a few years ago. And ever since they got married, he's changed. He's like a different person. She's like a ventriloquist. I'm not surprised if she doesn't have her hand up his backside making him talk right now.
Okay, disrespectful. You do not call my husband a puppet. Thank you very much.
All right. About her in the podcast.
All right, pipe down. I really want to understand this story. So you get married and you ask Mr. Rodriguez to be your...
I don't get married. Our friend Pete.
Let me explain the story, Your Honor. I'll tell you how it goes.
Thank you.
First of all, the way it goes is that I came to Mr. Carter in regards to planning a trip for one of our colleagues, Pete, which is he's getting married very soon. And I came to him because he's basically the guy to go to for planning events. And he's really good at it. Don't get me wrong. I give him credit for that. But we agreed on a trip to go to Turks and Caicos for some golfing over there, right? And instead, we get this call or this notice saying that we are going to go to Brazil instead, last minute. So that's the story, and he needs to stick to the story.
So you reached out to somebody. They planned the bachelor party for a friend, a mutual friend of both of yours.
Correct.
The original trip was to Turks and Caicos.
Correct.
And there was a fee associated with that.
Yes, there is some fees that he paid out of his pocket for that I agreed to pay back.
And I have the proof right here, Your Honor.
I'd like to see that proof. So he said, we're going to go to Turks and Caicos. I'll pay for it. You pay me back.
Exactly.
And you said, okay.
I said, okay.
And so and there it was.
We said okay, and there it was, exactly.
To the initial
trip. All right, so
trip.
did you say okay, or did you both say okay?
She said okay because she's the ventriloquist guru, not the relationship guru.
I said okay because I'm his pregnant wife, and I said okay, it's fine that you go to Turks and Caicos.
But when we went to Turks and Caicos, it would be fine. But now it's Brazil. Oh my God, I'm pregnant. Oh my God, the ventriloquist is tweaking out because he's pregnant because he's going to Brazil now instead of Turks and Caicos.
Let's be respectful. We want to be respectful in the courtroom, and we want to be respectful to women. I see this receipt here. You did spend the money to go on the trip. So why did your mind change, or what happened that you decided you weren't going to be able to go after all?
Sorry to interrupt, Your Honor, but first of all, the reason why I just feel like this is just wrong to begin with because we both agreed to go to Turks and Caicos for some golfing.
Nobody asked her to go anywhere.
Coming up.
Her husband said she could text back. You text back a joke to kind of indicate really what it meant was, I don't want my husband going to Brazil.
Hell no.
We're back with the case of Gary Carter, who brought Cynthia and Luis Rodriguez to court over a skipped bachelor party.
Did you tell Mr. Carter that you needed to check with your wife, or did you just agree right off the bat, I'm going?
I checked with my wife first of all, because I want to make sure we're both on the same page.
So when it was Turks and Caicos, You checked with her.
Yes.
Yes.
And what did you say, ma'am?
And I said Turks and Caicos was fine. But the moment that it changed to Brazil, that's when I responded in their group chat and I said that he was not.
Oh, you in the group chat with the guys?
I entered the
No,
group
she's
chat
not
on
in the
behalf
group
of
chat.
my husband.
Oh, through his phone.
Yes, through his phone.
Okay,
Which I got permission to do.
All right,
And
so
I-
you asked to do that.
Yes.
I was about to say you were on team too much, but if he says yes, okay.
And the rule from the gate, bro, when we got the group chat was no wives or girlfriends allowed.
Okay, you're saying that as a
So
single
you
man.
violated.
Greg, okay,
Nobody's talking to you. I was literally talking to him.
Let's get
You need to
some
stop
order.
talking to me because
All right,
nobody's even
Mr.
talking
Carter,
to you.
Mr. Carter, I want to understand, Mr. Rodriguez, when the trip changed to Brazil, what was your response?
My response was.
I responded.
She responded because I didn't get the text message. She's seen the text message that was sent to me by him.
And then what'd she say? I want to respond back because this is a different place?
Yeah, I basically said a little joke in the beginning, and I said my husband wasn't handsome enough or wasn't rich enough to cheat on me while going to Brazil. He's not gonna celebrate. He'll celebrate when you guys get back. I don't understand why that's not crystal clear that my husband is not going. I made a little joke out of it just because I was in your guys' boy group or whatever it was.
Well, regardless, your husband said you could text back on it, so your issue shouldn't be with her. It should be with him. Her husband said she could text back. You text back a joke to kind of indicate really what it meant was, I don't want my husband going to Brazil.
Hell no.
Okay, that's
Thank
what I
you.
thought. All right. You wanted to get her approval as to whether you should go. It was a mutual decision between you and your wife. When it went to Brazil, she wasn't comfortable. Right. And so how did you notify them besides your wife's text that, hey guys, I'm not gonna be able to go?
That's it.
That was it.
And we haven't heard from him since, other than the cease and desist letter.
All right, now, so you guys end up going.
Yes.
How many of you end up going?
It was just me and Pete, after all. Adrian dropped out as well. But Adrian,
See, why isn't Adrian here?
Because Adrian
on this
is
case as well?
a man that doesn't have a ventriloquist guru up his backside.
No, you're just a man that
it's
owes
clearly
you
something
money
more.
too.
Hold on,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Carter, I do
actually-
want to understand, if there was another person that dropped off, why aren't you...
Because me and him have been in communication. Sorry for cutting you off. But me and him have been in communication. He agreed to pay me through Cash App.
And I spoke to him upon him getting back from Brazil.
Only thing he said to me
he's
when
still going to pay for the trip, even though he dropped out and didn't
Yes,
go.
he's communicating with me. He's been a man.
How much money did you spend in advance?
$6,000 in total.
in advance of the trip.
In advance, I spent $6,000 to book the trip. Before we were planning to leave, I told everybody how much it was going to cost. It came up to $6,000, and I swiped the card.
You swiped the card after you decided on Turks and Caicos.
No, Your Honor.
When did you swipe the card?
I swiped the card right before I was about to swipe the card for Turks and Caicos. I got the information that it was going to be rainy season. It was going to be like monsoons or hurricanes, something. It's going to be really wet, and we can't play golf there. So before I swiped the card, I reached out to them and let them know, not her, but the other guys in the group. I reached out to them and let them know, hey, we're going to have to switch up. And hey, one of my friends in Brazil has a rental that they were not going to be using anymore. So they said we could use it. I told everybody.
Stop. So no charges have been incurred at this moment.
When I reached out to them to let them know the changes of the plans, nothing was swiped yet.
And when you got that message, that's when your text came back saying, my husband isn't handsome enough or rich enough to be down there partying with you all. He's not going to go. And hold on. And then, Mr. Rodriguez, did you ever respond back? Was it clear at that point in time he was not going?
No.
How is it not clear? My husband is not going. He'll celebrate with you guys when you guys get back. I don't understand how that isn't crystal clear.
Yeah, how could it get any clearer?
Stop talking.
Thank you. Thank you.
So basically,
Mr. Carter, so you know, this is my courtroom and I run it. You don't. If at the point she responded, you had not incurred any charges yet, why would you then swipe the card after that?
That's where the miscommunication is coming in.
Miscommunicate or assumptions?
First of all, I'm speaking to her. She already corrected
I'm asking
hers.
Mr. Carter a question.
Thank you, Your
Go
Honor.
ahead, sir.
So basically, like I was saying, I sent them the information to let them know it was going to change. Everybody responded and said, cool.
I never saw that.
No, you didn't get a response from them that said cool.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I would assume being that we're all in agreement.
Thank you.
Assumptions.
And then you're talking again while.
Excuse me. She's my wife. Keep your mouth.
I'm talking to both of you, bro. What's up?
Listen, Mr. Carter.
Wow.
Mr. Carter.
Okay.
Yes.
Please. You
I mean,
look.
Make sure that mouth is-
Listen, Mr. Carter. Pipe down. This isn't getting you anywhere.
Coming up,
Take me to the cease and desist letter. How did that come into play?
So basically, I found out he was slandering my name on a podcast, and I got upset because I do have a relationship business. I'm a relationship expert. So therefore, him talking smack about my husband and me on this podcast could be a risk to my business and my family.
we're back with the case of Gary Carter, who brought Cynthia and Luis Rodriguez to court over a skipped bachelor party.
At the point that you switched the trip to Brazil, due to it being rainy season, I understand the reason. When you got the response back from Mrs. Rodriguez that he would have to see you when you all got back, had you or had you not paid for the trip?
I had paid for the trip before I got her
That is
response.
exactly the opposite testimony that you just testified to.
Thank you.
3 minutes ago. So which one was it?
I swiped the card after she sent the message.
So the point is, you wanted to disregard what the wife said because you really wanted him to go. So you just figured he would figure it out and work it out and pay you the money. And
On the
you went
low.
on.
Well, like she said, it was a joke, so I thought it was a joke.
All right, take me to the cease and desist letter. How did that come into play?
So basically, I found out he was slandering my name on a podcast, and I got upset because I do have a relationship business. I'm a relationship expert. So therefore, him talking smack about my husband and me on this podcast could be a risk to my business and my family. That's why I sent him the cease and desist letter.
What did you say on the podcast, Mr. Carter?
All the thing I said on the podcast was that I have a buddy. I have plenty of buddies that's married. I have plenty of buddies that are married. So I never said her name, first of all.
With a relationship
She's talking to me,
Let him
not
finish.
you. Oh my God.
Ms. Rodriguez, let him finish. Let him finish.
Yo, control
What
your
did
woman,
you
bro,
say?
like how she controls
Mr.
you.
Carter.
Got a lot of nerve.
Mr. Carter.
Coming up,
I need to know what you said on the podcast.
So only thing I did is I went on and I said I have a buddy that is married to a love guru. And I said more like a ventriloquist guru.
we're back with the case of Gary Carter, who brought Cynthia and Luis Rodriguez to court over a skipped bachelor party.
Tell me what I asked you. I need to know what you said on the podcast.
So only thing I did is I went on and I said I have a buddy that is married to a love guru. And I said more like a ventriloquist guru.
Okay, so you're saying what you said 15 times in here.
Yes.
All right, and then what?
So that's really it. And I just said how she controls his relationship, controls their relationship, and she makes like decisions for him, everything. I know like in marriages it's supposed to be a group decision, but it's more like a her decision. And then I just
But
went
how do you know that when Mr. Rodriguez is telling you and testifying in court that they talked about it, he was okay, and he told her to text back? Why does that sound like they did not confer?
It sounds like to me that it was her making the decision for him. That's why he wasn't man enough to get his Twitter fingers on the keyboard and text that he wasn't coming.
And so
He
you
put his-
decided to send a cease and desist letter.
Yes. I decided to send that letter because I feel like what he said on the podcast could go viral, could put my business at risk, and ultimately that's money for my family. I think it's okay that I told my husband no for this trip, considering I am pregnant. Like, you can see my belly.
And she's speaking of slander.
She's
You
doing
should hear what she
anything now,
says
seriously.
to the women that follow her.
I'm an
the love
advocate.
guru.
I'm an
she
advocate
trashes
for women,
men,
thank you
and
very
she
much.
teaches women how to control men and how to
Okay.
persuade men, how to do
Alright.
everything. So you have no.
Let's get some order. Miss Rodriguez's business is not on trial here, and I'm so happy because I don't want to hear about it.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
You really felt like you should have at least heard from your friend directly as it related to the trip since he previously agreed. However, when you switch a location distinctively, right, from Turks and Caicos to Brazil, that needs yet another approval, which is why you sent the text out, right? And you needed that approval. You didn't get it from Mr. Rodriguez. At the end of the day, though, he doesn't owe you $1,500 because you were on notice that he was not going to be able to go before you paid for the trip. So whatever charges you incurred on that trip are yours. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And most importantly, I hope the bachelor who's now married is having a great marriage. This whole thing about cease and desist, this is a waste of time, Ms. Rodriguez. At the end of the day, if you're a business person, people are going to have a lot to say about you. You have not proven to me that you really had any damages from what he said. People are going to agree with your tactics. They're going to disagree with your tactics. And at the end of the day, it's up to you through your business acumen and the way that you operate to show that you are a reputable person in your trade. I hope your friendship survives, because this is just a terrible thing to lose your friendship over $1,500 in a bachelor party. You all can do better than that. You're grown men. You should be able to talk this out and let them do it on their own. Do you understand, Ms. Rodriguez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. With that said, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the co-defendants. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Bro, it's insane that our friendship is being damaged over this woman. I don't even understand why you don't see that she's controlling you, bro.
At the end of the day, y'all ain't friends. Period. It's
At
over.
the end of the day,
That's
it's chopped.
That's,
It's
I'm
chopped.
done.
Please
I'm
follow
done.
me.
Joseph Richter claims his ex-fiancée threw his engagement ring after they argued during a hiking trip, losing the ring forever. Daniel McEwen says he was overwhelmed by the heat, and it's not his fault the plaintiff can't catch.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Sean. Thank you. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Richter versus McEwen. Mr. Richter, you are suing Mr. McEwen for $7,350. The cost of a ring you say was tossed away on a hiking trip.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the defendant, Mr. McEwen, says it's not your fault that the plaintiff can't catch.
Correct.
All right, well, I want to hear what happened here. Mr. Richter, I'll start with you.
So we were just celebrating our engagement. I proposed to him 11 months ago. I got him a Aurora engagement ring, and he just was upset. We got to our trip for Death Valley. I surprised him with the trip, made sure to have all of our supplies together, have emergency supplies all run together.
Okay.
By the time we got there,
What'd you plan on doing at this trip?
we were planning on going up to a destination, which would be on top of the mountain that we were going
Okay,
hiking
so
over.
hiking.
Yes,
14
hiking.
miles, Your Honor.
Yes,
14
miles, but nothing that he hasn't done before. We're a very adventurous couple. That's actually one of the reasons why I was so attracted to him in the first place, was because we met at a sail race, San Martin, so about 3 years ago.
All right, so you are an adventurous couple.
Yes.
Did you both plan this trip, or was this trip planned by just you and it was a surprise?
It was planned by me, but as soon as I surprised him with the trip, he already knew where we were going. He knew the history of Death Valley. So, I mean, he knew what to expect.
Your Honor, I didn't find out where we were going until the day of. So it wasn't like I had much time to prepare.
Oh,
really.
so it was kind of a surprise
It was a
trip.
surprise, yes.
That's the whole point of a surprise. A surprise trip.
A surprise. So how would I prepare for a surprise?
But you had one day, and even then you could have said no. You didn't say no. Maybe you said let's go, and you were excited about it.
Were you excited, Mr. McEwen?
Your Honor, I was excited about the trip. As Joe was saying, we are an adventurous couple. I didn't realize until we got to Death Valley that he was really ill-prepared. I would like to present some evidence.
I'd like to see it, please.
Thank you.
So you say he wasn't prepared?
He was not prepared at
How
all,
was he
Your
not
Honor.
prepared?
In Death Valley, it always has these really large temperature changes. So from the bottom to the top, it's like drastic
Which he knew
increase or
about
decreases.
prior.
I knew about the day of. He keeps saying prior as if I knew a week or two in advance. I knew when we got in the car to go.
Did you know before you stepped foot out and start climbing up?
Yes. But Joe had already
talked about
claimed
it
that he had
before.
prepared everything. He was like, I have the bags, I have the water.
I have clothes too.
I have the trekking poles, which we didn't have. We ran out of water 6 miles into the hike. I was having sickness. My body was swelling. I told Joe that we just couldn't continue the hike anymore.
So you asked to go back down. You didn't want to continue.
Halfway through, I asked to go back down.
And so what happened?
We got into an argument, and I basically told Joe I couldn't do it anymore. So I took the ring off. I nodded to Joe that I was going to toss it to him. He nodded back.
That is not what happened.
And I tossed the ring.
That's
he threw his hands out.
definitely not what happened.
The ring dropped on the ground. We both searched for about 5 minutes. And again, I was just in extreme.
You tossed a ring on the side of a mountain you were hiking?
I'm sorry, we searched for 5 minutes?
I searched for 5 minutes. Yes, I did. I was going through extreme trauma and pain, Joe.
You searched for 5 minutes.
I told you that I wanted to go back.
Let's get some order. Let's get some order. I want to understand this. What possessed you? I don't care how hot you were. I don't care. Why would you take the ring off? Because of an argument?
My finger was literally swollen, Judge. As you can see from the evidence, it was 116 degrees when we started the hike.
That is too hot to be hiking, but yes.
But Your Honor, I want to also add that it was extremely hot that day, and it was not the normal temperature that it should have been, because that's the reason why we went out there during
But did
springtime.
anybody check the temperature before you went up to see what it was going to be that day?
You know, with weather changes, it fluctuates, so you never know until you actually get there some of the times.
Coming up.
You nod, or you didn't see the ring coming?
I didn't see the ring. It's a ring. It's not like it's a baseball.
He did not. Okay.
No.
Funny you say baseball. You play baseball, so you should have caught the ring.
And later.
I've tried talking to the pastor, and the only thing that he said is he's just going to pray for me because I need Jesus.
I'm very approachable. You can talk to me.
We're back with a dispute between Joseph Richter and his former fiancée, Daniel McEwen, over a lost engagement ring.
What would possess you to take the ring off and toss it to Mr. Richter?
The argument really was about my well-being. I just felt like he was inconsiderate of me and how I was feeling. Again, we're the only ones who are really on this mountain. So to continue to go to the top where I'm already feeling sick, if something happens to me, we're stuck there.
How did the argument escalate so far that you felt like when you took this ring off to toss it to him, Mr. McEwen, you were deciding that it was over? Like you was ending the whole relationship on the side of the mountain?
And the worst part about it...
Well, it's just typical of how our relationship goes. You know, we go on all of these adventures.
I'm sorry, who blocked who?
It's really because...
Who blocked who? Because I was trying to talk to you.
Can I speak, or are you just going to continue to do what you've been doing the whole entire time?
Well, you did with me, so let me interrupt you.
Mr. Richter.
So hold on. Is this the first time you all broke up?
Yes, in the 3 years that we've been together, Yes, exactly. We have never had an issue. We've always communicated everything.
So at the point where you've gotten angry, you're hot, you're tired, y'all in an argument because you don't think he's respecting and cares about your well-being, you get so mad you take the ring off. You say you look at him like you're going to toss it, and then you say, yes, Mr. Richter, toss it. You nod, or you didn't see the ring coming?
I didn't see the ring. It's a ring. It's not like it's a baseball.
He did nod. Okay.
No.
Funny you say baseball. You play baseball, so you should have caught the ring.
Boy, it's a ring, not a baseball.
So, Mr. Richter, what I want to know is, did you nod and say to him?
Yes, he did, Your Honor.
I did not, Your Honor.
Yes, he did.
I didn't even know. At that point, we were arguing. It was heated. I didn't realize that he was going to take off his ring and throw it off.
Because that don't even sound like an argument.
Right.
When you're arguing with somebody and you want to take a ring off and throw it, I mean, that's one motion. Off, throw.
Your Honor, I wish that I could get you to understand
Your Honor,
the extreme conditions that we were really in.
Not only did he throw the ring, he, like you said, he spent the 5 minutes looking for that ring. I spent until it was dark as
Your
night
Honor, it was
before,
so hot
before
out there,
heading
the
down there.
coyotes were like skipping across the burning
And then
sands.
to make it worse, he goes all the way down the mountain, waits in the car, and then we start arguing, and then he breaks off everything.
And so you never found the ring?
No.
All right.
I would like to state, Your Honor, that the ring wasn't insured as well.
As I already stated, yes,
Does
it was
anybody
not
have a receipt for the ring? Do you have it, Mr. Richter?
May I
see
present my
it,
evidence?
please?
Thank you.
And so let me ask you this. When you came down the mountain and cooled off, did you all get back together?
No. He actually blocked me. I reached out to him repeatedly before coming here today. That's the only reason why I'm here today, because this man decided to take the cheap way out.
$7,350.
Yes, that's correct.
Custom diamond setting.
And customized as well.
Your Honor, I was just done with Joe at the end of that day. Him not caring about my well-being, him, again, literally, I was almost on my knees on this mountain.
So this obviously this argument is rooted in something that happened before you ever went hiking.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
I cannot see.
Absolutely, Pitt. It just sounds like you just don't want to communicate about anything.
You
which
act
is
like
why
you don't
walk.
know.
No,
okay,
what?
Okay, Joe.
No, tell me, say it.
I've already said it. You don't consider my feelings or my well-being.
Give me a day and time then.
Anytime we've ever gone on a trip, Joe, how many times have I said to you, hey, why don't we just go somewhere? Maybe we go to a nice island. We can relax. We can do this. And it's always, maybe, okay, next time. And we do whatever it is that you want to do. And I stuck through it for 3 years because I do love you. But I can't do this anymore.
What I'm hearing is, Mr. Richter, you are the real adventurous one. And because Mr. McEwen loved you, wanted to be in a relationship with you, he just wanted to experience whatever you wanted to experience and be with you, although that was not necessarily his choice. With that said, you know, Mr. McEwen, I can understand how this kind of hike would make you want to tell Mr. Richter to take a hike, right? I can see how you could be on the side of this mountain like, now see, now I done bit off more than I can chew because I don't want to be here. I'm hot. I don't feel well. I'm scared, right? And then your adventurous partner is like, no, you can do it. You can do it. I get that. But this is not the time to take off a very valuable ring that you've been given and decide you're going to get so mad you're going to throw it to him. Now, an engagement ring is a conditional gift in many ways. There are various ways that states and courts have ruled on this, but in most instances, it's viewed as a gift in condition, right? On condition that something happens, and that is the marriage. You did not handle that appropriately. It was actually extremely negligent, and you had no business taking such a valuable thing off, throwing it across the mountain, and for that reason, you haven't even gotten married. It is the determination of this court. Judgment for the plaintiff for $7,350. Court is adjourned.
All rise. Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $7,350.
I'm so done with you.
As you
honestly,
should.
like don't talk.
Be done. No, be done with me. I'm trying to go on my trip to Fiji.
Please go to the trip to Fiji. Don't come back. Actually,
I don't plan to.
One-way trip.
I have trust
please.
issues now because of you, because your goofy self.
All right, gentlemen, let's go.
Coming up.
Did you realize it was a church revival going on at the time?
Yes, I was aware.
Oh, you did know that?
Yes.
How did you know? Because of the signage outside?
Not just the signage, but the loud music itself.
All right.
Well, he intentionally likes to just interrupt our services because he's an atheist.
Willard Nicholas claims disruptions from a neighbor during his church revival caused donations to come up short. Eddie Colon says he tried to talk to the pastor, but was ignored. So he had to take matters into his own hands.
Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Nicholas versus Colon. Mr. Nicholas, you are suing Mr. Colon for $2,500 for disrupting your church revival. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And the defendant says he should not have to pay. He didn't do anything wrong, right?
That is true.
I want to start with you, Mr. Nicholas. What happened?
I am suing this man because he interrupted my revival. We was trying to raise $4,000, but we came up short due to his behavior. And, you know, we need this money for the community. We have several outreach programs that we have.
What was happening? You're having a revival in a church or outside?
Inside a church. We do it 7 days, for 7 days straight, once in the morning and once in the evening.
How close is his house to the church?
His house is literally next door. He's my neighbor. But he likes to get out and, play loud music, loud rock music, and interfere with the church services that we have every Sunday.
Did you realize it was a church revival going on at the time?
Yes, I was aware.
Oh, you did know that?
Yes.
How did you know? Because of the signage outside?
Not just the signage, but the loud music itself that they were playing.
The loud music that they were playing?
Yes.
At the revival?
Yes.
All right.
Well, he intentionally likes to just interrupt our services because he's an atheist.
How long have you been living next to this church, Mr. Colon?
I'd say for about maybe 2 months now. I relocated for a job. I've tried talking to the pastor, and the only thing that he said is he's just going to pray for me because I need Jesus.
Oh, I'm very approachable. You can talk to me anytime.
Coming up,
He got at some of my congregation members and was like, you know, I'm feeling sick, I can't sleep.
we're back with the case of Willard Nicholas, who brought Eddie Colon to court over a disrupted church revival.
So you're trying to raise money.
Trying to raise money.
And how many evenings is this that the music goes up? How many times have you been trying to do the revival and the music is loud?
Well, my congregation, I handed them flyers to hand out to the people in the community so we can get offerings and donations for the revival. But he circulated a petition to stop all that from happening. He got at some of my congregation members and was like, you know, I'm feeling sick, I can't sleep, I can't do this, I can't do that. So he kind of like threw a monkey wrench in the program of me raising money for the revival. So we came up short on the money.
Well, how much money you think you lost because of Mr. Colon's music?
Well, I have evidence right here because last year we made $4,000.
All right.
And this year we only made $1,500.
Okay.
So you understand, we need that $2,500 that I'm suing for. We really need this money because we got a lot of homeless people. We got pregnant women and their kids. We need to feed them. We need to provide some shelter for all type of people.
When do you own that home or do you rent it?
I am currently renting the home.
All right. So it's just been 60 days.
Yes.
People have a right to use and quiet enjoyment of their home, meaning when they rent a place or when they own it, you have a right to be able to enjoy yourself inside your home, doing the things you love to do. But you have to be mindful of neighbors. There's courtesy, right? You have to be mindful of how your actions could affect another. Now, both of you, you are a church, but
ma'am.
you also live right next to a residential home.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
I believe that conducting a revival at night after 6, 7 o'clock when others could be resting is the smartest thing to do when potentially you could have done the revival maybe earlier in the day.
I mean, no other tenant has complained. He's the first tenant that lived in that house that's complained.
But there's always somebody. I don't know about
Always
you,
somebody, that's
but
right.
I've lived on enough streets to know. Mr. Colon might be a terrible neighbor. He might even be a jerk. But he's not liable for the $2,500 you did not make. Because there is no way for you to prove that the church would have made that money. You can't prove that definitively. Mr. Nicholas, what I advise is when you're doing your revivals, next time, make them earlier in the day. Mr. Colon, when they let you know what time it's going to be, let it be sometime when he at work. Do it during the week. Do it sometime where he's not around until his lease is up. And then you need to get yourself another place to live.
Amen. Hallelujah.
This is a waste of everybody's time. You could be in there trying to save some more souls,
Save
Mr.
souls,
Nicholas.
that's what I
Judgment
do.
for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
You know what, man? I don't even believe this, man. You know what? I'm going to roll with the judge. I respect her. But you, I don't respect you. And I ain't going to love thy neighbor. I ain't going to do that. Not me. Not in this lifetime. Lord, forgive me.
You could probably enjoy it.
But, yeah, you need to move. You need to shake the spot in a real way.
Dawn and Mary Reynolds claim the gender reveal party for their future grandchild wasn't what they expected or paid for. Willow Holloway claims the co-plaintiff's daughter wanted a twist on the tradition, so that's what they did.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake now presiding.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may be seated. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Reynolds versus Holloway. The plaintiffs are suing the defendant for $5,000 for a botched gender reveal. The defendant claims that they followed their daughter's instructions. All right, let's begin with you, the plaintiffs. Mr. and Ms. Reynolds, what happened?
Well, the lovely young woman seated over here is Ashley. She is our only child. We adore her. We raised her to be a good Christian girl, and we have supported her in anything she wanted to do We paid for her wedding. We paid for her subsequent divorce. When she decided that she wanted to have a child, we understood, and she had a great deal of trouble getting pregnant. She went through several rounds of fertility treatments and in vitro fertilization, all of which we paid for. But God smiled on us, and she became pregnant, and we were just overjoyed.
Overjoyed.
But she's on the opposite side of the aisle in the courtroom, so I guess I'll figure out why.
Well, we're here to get our money back from Willow here, who we had hired for a gender reveal party for our lovely daughter, and she did not give us what we paid for. We paid $5,000 for a gender reveal.
And we made it very clear that this needed to be an important part of this baby shower party. Well, we walked into the party, and we're expecting to see pink balloons and blue balloons, and none of that. There was green and yellow and cream, and we're listening around, and we realized that there was not going to be a reveal of the gender of the baby, which was what we primarily paid for.
And so take me back to how you ended up funding this, right?
Well, Ashley, our beautiful daughter, we give her anything that she's wanted all throughout her life.
Well, that's the first problem, but go ahead.
Well, she wanted to have this nice baby shower and a gender reveal.
So it was a baby shower and gender reveal.
Yes, Your Honor,
okay,
it was. It was both. We had a photo. I have my invoice here. We had
I'd like to see
brunch.
that.
We had catering. We had alcohol. We had photo booth. I mean, this was a quite extensive event.
All right, I need to see that because I want to be specific, because some people do their gender reveals individually, and then once the gender is revealed, then they have a shower later so that people can buy gifts for whatever gender it was. So this was planned to be a baby shower / gender reveal.
Correct.
You'll see that right there on the invoice.
You paid $2,500.
$5,000, Your Honor.
$5,000, but this is the deposit of $2,500.
Correct.
Well, it also states in there, Your Honor, too, that we did pay the whole thing off.
Got it. I was getting down to that part where everything was included. All right. So what's the problem? You get there and the colors weren't what you wanted them to be?
The colors weren't what we would expect there to be.
That wasn't the...
But that wasn't the main thing, right? I mean, it was the gender reveal. Again, this is our only daughter. We were so excited to find out the sex of our grandchild, which, by the way, Your Honor, the baby is 6 months old. We still don't know.
All right. Oh.
We still don't know.
We don't know.
So
you don't know.
The gender reveal was supposed to be like...
You're saying you don't know the baby? You've never seen the baby?
No,
or you don't
Your
know
Honor,
the
we
gender?
have not. We have
do not know the baby's gender. We do not know the baby's
All right,
name.
let me go to the defendant. Ms. Holloway.
Yes.
You were hired to plan a baby shower / baby reveal for the Reynolds family.
Yes.
That's correct.
Yes.
Tell me about where you believe the miscommunication came in.
I believe the miscommunication came in because they, in fact, were not specific that they wanted to know the sex of the child. They had hired me because I'm a friend of Ashley's and had put Ashley in charge of the reveal party. So I was essentially listening to her. And she had specified that she wanted to have a twist on the gender reveal tradition, which is that she wants her child to grow up being able to understand their own identity on their own terms, and that at the reveal party we would not be revealing the gender of the child, and that we would just be revealing the child.
Coming up.
So, Ms. Holloway, you submitted picture and videos to the court of the baby.
Yes.
I'd like to see.
I would like to see this too. Oh my God.
And later.
When we first got together, he stated that he would pay me $2,000 a month for seeing him once a week, and then
$2,000 a month for real love.
We're back with the case of Don and Mary Reynolds, who brought Willow Holloway to court over a gender reveal party.
When you hired the defendant to produce the party, did you say, please follow the instructions of my daughter as to what she wants for the party? That's the answer I need.
Well, of course we said, well, what Ashley wants.
I know you did, because you opened your testimony and said we give her whatever she wants.
Yes, we do.
And so you did do that.
We did.
I need to go back to the defendant. So continue.
Yes, so first of all, I just want to clarify my pronouns are they, them, and I know that they've frequently misused that, so I wanted to clarify that. Secondly, I just wanted to create a party for Ashley, and I followed it to the T. You can see everything in the invoice. I'm mostly frustrated because they're wanting to sue for something that they don't appreciate based on their ideology, and that's not what I was contracted to do.
All right. Now, I think to understand this further, your daughter is actually a defense witness. I'd like to hear from her. Ms. Reynolds, please stand. State your full name for the court.
Ashley Reynolds.
Ms. Reynolds, thank you for being here today. This entire situation, or debacle, whatever you want to call it, is based upon trying to celebrate a life you're bringing into the world, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, did you dictate to the defendant, Ms. Holloway, that you did not really want to do the standard or the customary style gender reveal where you reveal whether it's a girl or a boy? You wanted to do something different. Is that true?
Yes.
You communicated that?
With Ms. Holloway, yes.
Clearly?
Yes.
Okay.
It's just that Willow has been a really bad influence on our daughter for years.
In what way?
Well, she has, as we discussed, an alternative lifestyle. We don't approve of it, but that is her business. What I don't think she has any business doing is promoting her political agenda at my daughter's party.
It was
Okay, so what is the political agenda?
There is no political agenda. We both decided that we had a friend who committed suicide recently, but before the shower, because they tried to come out as non-binary and they were shunned from their parents and kicked out of the house. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And we decided that to celebrate this new life, we didn't want them to feel trapped.
Who's we?
Me and Miss Holloway. We're roommates.
Understood. Okay.
So Miss Holloway's helping me take care of the baby, as I have no one else in my life at the moment. And we decided to have this baby shower be a support of what we hope the world to become, that we want love and support for this child no matter what they want.
So you and Ms. Holloway are roommates, and they are helping you raise the baby.
Yes.
Now, do your parents know that? Or are we really uncovering a different kind of truth here in this courtroom?
They would have already known the truth if they had stayed for the party. Willow and I have been dating on and off since high school. And they've given me the support and love that you never could.
Sweetheart, we love you.
We've always
We love you.
You love the idea of me.
No, we love you, sweetheart. We do. Listen, do we even, we don't even know the gender. How do we find out? Do we have a grandson or a granddaughter?
We have a grandchild. Their name is Marcel.
Is that a girl? That's a girl?
Your Honor, we have some footage of the child.
So, Ms. Holloway, you submitted picture and videos to the court of the baby?
Yes.
I'd like to see.
I would like to see this too. Oh my God.
There's your grandchild.
So sweet. That's Marcel?
And how does it feel to see your grandchild for the first time?
It's a pretty overwhelming experience, Your Honor, to say the least.
And you should have been there in person to share it, and you should be there in person to share it from now on.
You're absolutely correct.
It is the determination of this court, however, based upon the evidence that was submitted, that Ms. Holloway did, in fact, fulfill the terms of the contract and the agreement. They put on a party to celebrate a new life per the direction of your daughter, and she indicated that she wanted to not reveal the gender at a party that's normally a gender reveal, because that's what she chooses and that's what she wanted. And maybe today can be the beginning of a brand new start.
Maybe
With that said, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The co-plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Would you like to give your daughter a hug?
I would.
Willow?
Sweetheart.
I don't know how much more you do right now, but you're good.
So sorry. So sorry we caused any problems. Willow, we welcome you. Thank you.
Coming up.
I DM'd him on Instagram and asked him if he could take down the pictures, and he threatened me and told me that.
Come on, threaten you?
Yes, you did.
How old are you, Mr. Kurtz?
45.
Tiffany Smith claims her reputation was damaged after she was outed as a sugar baby on social media. Roger Kurtz says he only told the truth in his post and was upfront that he wanted a serious relationship.
This is the case of Smith versus Kurtz. Ms. Smith, you are suing Mr. Kurtz for $15,000 for defamation. Mr. Kurtz, you say you only told the truth. Is that correct?
Correct, Judge.
All right. I'll start with you, Ms. Smith. Tell the court what happened.
So we met on this website called Seeking Arrangements.
All right.
It is a website for sugar babies seeking sugar daddies.
Okay.
And he messaged me stating that he wanted to be my man. So, of course, I thought he meant he wanted to be my sugar daddy. So I agreed. We had a conversation, and he stated that we could meet, but he wanted more. He wanted an actual relationship.
Of course.
But I told him that I wasn't ready for that. So we could start off small and see where it goes.
What was your point of joining that community?
Me, I was looking for love. As time went on, we got pretty serious along with the intimacy.
Your
We
Honor,
spent a
we're
lot
only
of time
together
together.
for 6 months.
6 months is a long time.
So, Ms. Smith, you don't agree with Mr. Kurtz's testimony?
No. When we first got together, he stated that he would pay me $2K a month for seeing him once a week. And then
$2K a month for real love.
Yes, Your Honor. And after our first month, that's when we officially started becoming intimate. And that's when he started saying how he wanted this to be more. And I told him,
Of course, I'm paying for it.
I'm only 22. I'm not trying to have a serious relationship right now. I'm just doing this so I could make some extra money because my friends told me about this website.
Coming up.
He ended up going on social media and posting our pictures. My family now knows about this. Now my dad is no longer talking to me. I've been disowned.
We're back with the dispute between Tiffany Smith and Roger Kurtz over a revealing social media post.
Do you have receipts of the $2,000 you sent her per month?
No, but she already admitted. Haven't you? Right? Am I right?
Yes, we had an agreement for $2K a month to meet
I'm
once
just
a
wondering
week.
why you come to court without the proof that you were paying her.
Hey, I'll look at get together what I can get together during that short period of time of coming here, you know?
Okay, well, where's the defamation come in, Ms. Smith?
So he ended up going on social media and posting our pictures and pictures of me stating that, oh, I'm his girl, and then he even tagged my parents.
Right. It's
he
my
tagged
Instagram.
my dad, my mom.
It's my Instagram.
My
I
sister.
put what I want on there.
And now they're no longer talking to me due to my family being very religious. He has put out my business as being his sugar baby. My friends, they're having...
Do you have evidence of these conversations or this post that he put out about you?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see that, please.
Thank you.
It probably falsified.
I DM'd him on Instagram and asked him if he could take down the pictures, and he threatened me and told me that...
Come on, threaten you?
Yes, you did.
How?
I have the proof. She's going to see it.
How old are you, Mr. Kurtz?
45.
Act it.
Okay.
So you basically said to him, I really don't want to date you anymore. Did you say to him, don't send me another $2,000?
Yes, we were done. I actually cut him off, and we were not speaking. And that's when he did that.
And so how many payments of $2,000 did you get?
Let's see. We were for 6 months, and it was for a month.
Over 16
All right, and what
cash.
were your damages?
My family now knows about this, and now my dad is no longer talking to me. I've been disowned, and my father was helping me with my college tuition. He was giving me $5K. Like I was saying, he was giving me $5K per semester.
So you have a balance of 3 semesters remaining, and that is $15,000.
Yes.
Judge Lake's verdict when we the people...
The problem is, Ms. Smith, the damages that you incurred are in part because of your behavior, right?
Right.
You the one, I don't need your help. I'm not no sugar baby. I don't need your voice or your money.
I apologize, Your Honor.
Thank you. So, Ms. Smith, what you got yourself into, you could have been exposed in a myriad of ways. Somebody could have seen you out with this 45-year-old man. Your mama and your daddy could have seen you out somewhere with him. Somebody could have taken a picture of you. Somebody could have screenshot your face off that site and posted it. And the damages that you incurred, unfortunately, I don't believe that Mr. Kurtz should be responsible for, because they did not defame you. They just exposed the truth about what you were doing. And he said nothing but the truth. For that reason, judgment for the defendant, court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
See, I told you not to drag me out here.
Whatever.
You should have known
you know
better.
what you were doing.
What you mean I
just
knew what I was doing? You know what you were
psycho.
doing.
Stop. I
Come
don't
on,
want to
we
talk to you
already had
anymore.
an agreement and...
Just stop. Stop. Don't even talk to me.
Well, it stopped all right. Yeah, it stopped all right.
Carrie Roberts claims she went on vacation with her girlfriends, but when it was time to pay the bill, her friend disappeared. Tammy Mills says the cost of the trip was being split between 4 people, and that didn't include her.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Roberts versus Mills. Ms. Roberts, you are suing Ms. Mills for $1,692. You say it's the portion of a hotel bill and other money that she owes you. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
Okay, explain to me what happened.
I cannot believe that I have to sue my good friend for some money that she owes me, but respectfully and rightfully so. So I met her 2 years ago on a cruise. We had so much fun. We did a karaoke competition and we won. So I'm thinking,
really?
this is my soulmate, girl. You remember?
Okay, that's cute though. That's so cute. So you met, it was really cute.
Yes.
You thought you were kindred spirits.
Absolutely.
And you became great friends.
Great friends.
So what happens?
Well, we won the award.
All right.
And then, a year later, I needed her to help me with a couple of things. She was a great friend of mine, and I helped her with a couple of things. You know how friends are, we exchanged help. So I asked her to help me with a work reference for my job.
Judge, she wanted me to lie for her. Keep it real, friend.
She trying to make
She
me go
wanted
to
me to
jail.
lie for her.
I hope that's okay to say in here. I don't want to go to jail.
You in court, y'all swore to tell the truth.
Okay, well, it's
So
the
this
truth.
is the truth. She wanted me to lie for a job reference for her. I did, which resulted in her getting a job. I'm proud of you, sis. However, on the back end, she said that she got me. We were going to celebrate for her receiving this promotion, which resulted in her getting a $40,000 raise. So when she said, let's go on this trip, I got you, I started packing my bags because you got me. She's trying to have me pay the remainder of a trip where it was supposed to be split between 4 people. Not one time did she ever mention that I had to pay anything. I was just responsible for getting my plane ticket.
Why
which
would
I
you think you're not going to pay for nothing?
Friend, you know my situation though. Friend, you know I be struggling sometimes. You know, she knows I'm a single mom, Your Honor.
So I want to understand this. What was your response? Was it, I want to go, but I don't have the money? Or is it, I want to go, how much is it? What was your response?
Well, she already know I didn't have the money. It's been 2 years since I've been on a trip. So I'm just congratulating her. Oh, go, friend. I'm happy for you. And then she said, we're going to celebrate. I got you. Next thing you know, I get an itinerary for a trip. Who's going to turn down a trip? Especially with the words, I got you, attached to it.
So you get the itinerary. And
I
you
get
weren't
everything.
asked to contribute anything towards a ticket?
No. Towards the trip, no. My own plane ticket, yes.
Oh, you had to buy your plane ticket?
Yes, and she knew I flew Spirit, so she knew I was on a discount or trying to cut corners. She knew.
Your Honor.
So wait a minute. Ms. Roberts, when you said, I got you, what did you mean?
I meant that I have her right now. Later down the road, you have to pay me back.
Did you add that and you can pay me back later into the discussion?
I expected her to know I hadn't started my job yet. It's like I got the job and she immediately thought, oh, okay, we all going on a trip together and it's for free. No.
You can't be expecting nothing. I need to hear that pay me back later.
I'm still trying to understand how you got your own plane ticket, but thought she was paying for the whole trip?
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, because I took that upon my own to buy the plane ticket. This is my friend. I'm not trying to beat her over the head, and she's already, to my knowledge, going to
So you
sponsor
felt
the
like
trip.
she said, come on and go, I got you. And you were thinking to yourself, ooh, I don't want her to be on the hook for everything.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and just get myself a cheap plane ticket.
Yeah, 'cause
so at
we're
least
friends,
that's
so
that.
I don't-
Okay,
you
all
know-
right, I'm understanding that now. Get to the trip now.
Well, as far as the trip went, when it came time to check out, I could not find Tammy at all. Ghost gone with the wind. And I'm like, wait a second, where's my friend? The other girls are here. Where's Tammy?
What was going on?
I don't know. I honestly.
But that's the thing, Your Honor. She shouldn't be checking for me
Sis, she
when
was
I'm not
talking to me.
responsible for any of the fees. So why are you looking for me?
That's where the misunderstanding begins and ends.
Coming up,
How did you think she was able to pay for the entire trip for you? That means you ate free, you had the hotel for free, all you did was pay for your plane ticket.
Because sometimes you can't question blessings.
and later,
If he used Troy to breed with another dog, he owes you the $7,000. Luckily for you both, this court did do a DNA analysis.
we're back with a dispute between Carrie Roberts and her friend Tammy Mills over travel expenses.
Were you just so confident, Miss Mills, that at the time, I mean, usually at the time of checkout, and someone's saying, even they say, I got you, did you say to her, hey, are you sure? You know, I'd like to pay you back half. I don't have it now, but I can pay you back this later.
No.
You just didn't go anywhere near the checkout counter.
At that point, yes.
That's like
you're
those
right.
people, Sean, when the bill comes at the restaurant, they suddenly got to go to the restroom.
That's me out of here. Especially if you say you got.
Is that you?
No, I'm just kidding. Look, I'm just saying though, in that regard, especially if you say you got me, and then also, Your Honor, we've been friends for some time now, so she understands that I'm a single mom. I have a lot of, hardships that I have to overcome. And her friends, they're single with no children, so they don't have the same financial obligations as I do.
Well, let me say this. As the woman who was single for a long time with no children, I couldn't stand when other people would count my money. Now, just because you decide to become a mother and add more responsibility to your plate, that doesn't mean you count my money and always assume I have more because I don't have a child.
She does
And
have
I
more,
make
though.
sure that I don't do that now that I have a child, that I don't do the reverse. Now, and I will give this to Ms. Roberts, she got the job, but was not able to pay for the whole trip if she wasn't earning at the job yet. How did you think she was able to pay for the entire trip for you? That means you ate free, you had the hotel for free, all you did was pay for your plane ticket.
Because sometimes you can't question blessings. And that's what that was, a blessing. It's been a long, friend, I needed that vacation. It had been so long, and with COVID, and I had to watch my daughter way more than I was stressed and couldn't do it.
So let me ask you something, Ms.
I
Roberts.
wasn't gonna question.
While you're on the vacation and the days are going by and the meals are going by, and are you charging everything to the room, or are you looking at this and every few minutes you're like, well, she ain't tried to pay for nothing yet?
Absolutely both. We did charge some things to the room, and then, the excursions that we did outside of the hotel, me and my friends would just kind of fight over the bill, because that's how we do. One person pays. We don't do the 5 cards trying to pay one bill. So me and my other friends were taking care of it. I didn't pay much attention to Tammy not taking care of it. I'm not that type of friend to count up everything. But when the bill came for the room and there were international phone calls made to her child or to whoever she was calling in the middle of the night, and the mini bar in our room was empty, and we were never really in the room. She was
Wait
in the
a
room
minute
warming
now.
up.
Wait a minute
I maybe
now.
had a drink or 8, but that's fine.
Yeah,
You said a drink or 8.
I was trying to get. I have the receipt.
I had this much.
She said, I may have had a drink or 8.
I was trying to get myself together. Her friends, they were not that inviting. I can't fight over the bill, so
I have the receipt of what the
I'd
bar
like to see the
looks like,
receipt.
and the receipt from the hotel room.
some of that's fake, probably, Your Honor.
Did you bring any evidence today, Ms. Mills?
Yes, I have a copy of
What do you have?
the hotel bill as well.
I'm going to believe you that this hotel bill is
Yes, sir.
$16.92.
Now, you may want to check, she be lying to her job sometimes. So.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, see how your friend will do you? I heard enough. This is I hate to say, but this is common, and I'm not surprised. When you get to be close friends with someone, you believe you can speak each other's language, but you're not kindred spirits when it comes to money. And I think that's what people need to understand. Exchange of money, all of these things, gifts, trips, loans, whatever it may be, it requires very real communication. And in the excitement of this job, you all began to make a plan without really having a plan, right?
Yes.
And that old saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. What I'm most proud of is that even though you're standing here in court today, it still looks like you have a lot of love for one another.
Yeah,
and you still appreciate and honor the friendship.
Yes.
But this has got to be a lesson that when you are going forward in a vacation or anywhere where you're spending money together, hammer it out, put it in writing. Make sure everybody understands the terms. Because I'll be very clear, at your age, it's like I could completely understand Ms. Mills' position in this. When I was at your age, if someone said, come on, you can go, I got you, that could mean if you fall short, I'm gonna spot you.
Yes.
Usually a spot means that you pay back later when you do get it. Now, as a woman of this age, when I tell somebody, come with me, I got you, that means you don't have to worry about anything.
Come on.
It's done. I'm taking care of you. And so I can see how both of you can be confused as to what that means. So it has been determined by this court that you all need to split the amount that you are petitioning for. So both of you take responsibility for some portion of this miscommunication. You're suing for $1,692, therefore a judgment for the plaintiff for $846. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $846.
I can't believe you had me come on here
How
for
you gonna
that.
bring me
We
on
could
the
have did
court?
this at
Can't we
home.
work out a payment plan? I probably only got the 42 today. Something.
You could just pay. You ain't got to pay me back. We'll talk about it the next trip.
Coming up.
There is a clause in that contract that states if you intend to breed these dogs, you need to pay a fee.
Clearly, she's just trying to make money out of this. Otherwise, you would have told me to get it neutered after.
Responsibility is not my problem.
It's got nothing to do with responsibility.
Well, actually, Mr. Humphreys, it does.
Hannah Miller claims the puppy she sold was intended to be a pet and contractually wasn't supposed to father a litter once it got older. Sam Humphreys says he neutered the dog so it couldn't sire any puppies.
Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Miller versus Humphreys. Ms. Miller, you are suing Mr. Humphreys for $7,200 for breach of contract. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Humphreys, you say you did not breach the contract.
That is correct.
All right. Ms. Miller, what happened?
I am a Labrador Retriever breeder. I live in Clemson, South Carolina. I've been doing this a long time, Your Honor. When he bought a dog from me, he ended up signing a contract. But the most important part was a non-compete clause contract. He agreed that he would neuter the dog when it reached or before it reached 9 months of age. The reason I have that non-compete clause is because I truly care about the health and well-being of these dogs. When dogs are overbred and irresponsibly bred, sometimes inbreeding can happen, health problems can happen with these dogs. There is a clause in that contract that states if you intend to breed these dogs, you need to pay a fee of $7,000.
Can I see the contract? Did you bring it?
I did.
Thank you.
So this contract explicitly says that proof must be received within 14 days after the completion of the surgery and that male dogs need to be neutered before becoming 9 months of age.
Yes, ma'am.
Coming up.
Even if Troy is the father, which he is not.
How do you know that for sure?
I had him fixed.
Luckily for you both, this court did do a DNA analysis.
We're back with the case of breeder Hannah Miller, who brought Sam Humphreys to court over puppy paternity.
Mr. Humphreys, I want to hear your side. When you bought the dog, was it your intention to breed the dog?
Not at all. I'm an investment banker first. I'm not a breeder whatsoever. The dog was just meant to be a
Did you have
family
any
pet.
other dogs when you bought Troy?
No.
And-
However, I did get 2 more dogs after I bought Troy.
You did?
3 months after. Our kids loved this dog so much. The dog was getting lonely. It was kismet. It was perfect.
You were supposed to have Troy neutered before he was 9 months old. The question is, did you do that?
Yes, I did.
Then the second question is, did you bring proof to court?
Yes, I did.
May I see it, please?
Thank you. Here you are.
Thank you so much, Sean. Let me see, the date of the contract was October 2020, and then the surgery was performed on July of 2021. So the bottom line is he's still a little tardy to the party.
But very close.
But very close. If he used Troy to breed with another dog, he owes you the $7,000.
Yes, ma'am.
You're suing for $7,200. What's the other $200 for?
When the dogs are sold, he's selling them for a price that would equal $7,200. He has chosen to sell the puppies instead of pay me the fee that I asked for.
Your
So
Honor.
that is why I chose to sue for that number, Your Honor.
Even if Troy is the father, which he is not,
How do you know that for sure?
I had him fixed.
Luckily for you both, this court did do a DNA analysis.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
All right, so here's a canine breed composition DNA analysis certificate. For Troy Humphreys, he is in fact the papa of these puppies.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I mean, that's just not fair. Why would she have that clause? Clearly, she's just trying to make money out of this. Otherwise, you would have told me to get it
Your
neutered after.
responsibility is not my problem.
It's got nothing to do with responsibility.
Well, actually, Mr. Humphreys, it does. Because the truth is, all you had to do was say, you know what? Let's get some other dogs, but since we've got Troy, and it is not my intention to breed, let's get another boy dog or 2 other boy puppies, and then we wouldn't have this problem.
I wasn't faced with that
But once
choice.
you got the girl puppy, this possibility could happen. So with that said, judgment for the plaintiff for $7,000. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $7,000.
So it looks like it was a good day for you. How do you guys feel about the verdict?
I feel great. I got what I needed and what was entitled to me.
I was a bit cheated by this loophole, so.
So what are you going to do with all the dogs?
I have no idea.
Feel free to sell them.
Shannon Kelly claims her wedding photographer did a lousy job on her special day, so she wants her money back. Mike Lawson says he had to battle the elements, and he's not responsible for acts of God. Mr. Lawson is countersuing for $600.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning.
The litigants have been sworn in.
Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. All right, this is the case of Kelly versus Lawson. Ms. Kelly, you are suing Mr. Lawson for $3,800 because you say he ghosted you and breached a contract and didn't deliver your wedding photos. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Lawson, you are countersuing Ms. Kelly for $600 because you say you suffered inconvenience and emotional distress.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, let's start with you, Ms. Kelly. What happened? You got married and Mr. Lawson was your photographer?
Yes, he was.
Tell the court what happened.
I secured Mr. Lawson by giving him $3,800 up front for him to do my wedding, which was going to be in Tampa. It was going to be on the date of June 13th.
Okay.
It was 2 weeks after the wedding, and I was not happy with the photos that he sent.
So the first run of photos basically proves the raw footage and photos.
No, this wasn't raw footage. These were just photos that Mr. Lawson sent me.
And you didn't like any of them?
I did not.
Was he just taking pictures or was he also doing video?
He was supposed to do both, taking photos and doing video.
Okay. Mr. Lawson, you do acknowledge that Ms. Kelly paid you $3,800 up front to film and shoot pictures for her wedding.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Did you perform the service to the best of your ability?
I did, Your Honor.
And then after that was done, you sent her photos.
Yes,
About how many photos?
I don't know, it was roughly like 400 or 500 photos.
Oh, wow. And then what happened?
So I reached out to her on June 27th, which was exactly 2 weeks after the wedding. I had informed her that I hadn't forgotten about her and that the footage was coming.
All right, that sounds reasonable. When did it become a mess?
A mess became when Mr. Lawson sent me the photos, and they were the bridesmaids. Their dresses are blowing, their hair is in disarray. I'm not happy with these photos. This is supposed to be my wedding day, the most beautiful day that there is for me.
Well, I mean, let's think about this, Miss Kelly. The dresses are blowing and the hair is blowing. That sounds Beyonce-like to me.
Well, no, they don't look Beyonce-like. What he captured.
Was it a part of his duty as the photographer to fix the hair and the dresses too, or capture the moment?
I think that he should capture the moment, and I think that his assistants, which I paid for, should have been there to assist. Our hair is blowing. He could have stopped us.
It was a large wedding. We had I had one assistant inside taking pictures of the reception, and I had the other one outside helping me. Mind you, this was an outside wedding, and it was being shot in the evening, so I'm battling all kinds of elements.
So if this is too much for him to handle, as we are starting to hear, then maybe he should not have taken on this task.
It's why I have it specifically here in the contract.
Hold on. When you're outside, it's very hard to control the elements, right? And if you have more than one bridesmaid, it is very hard to get everybody's hair looking perfectly at once, everybody's dress flowing perfectly at once. If you were having him shoot two different things at once, which is often the case, where the assistant is doing the reception or the cocktail hour while the bridal party is getting pictures, my point is, if we couldn't get perfection, isn't that what touch-ups are for? Like, did you try, Mr. Lawson, to Photoshop or, clean up the photos?
Yes, Your Honor, I did it to the best of my ability. But again, like I said, she had she wanted like a certain background look, and she wanted certain elements and things, and I was battling, the sun was going down, the wind was happening. That's why I even have in the contract right here that I brought.
Let me have the contract, please.
Your Honor, but don't you think that we could have at least moved it on the inside, or he could have stopped, for a moment to say, let's maybe give the wind a moment? This is my day. We're capturing one moment, Your Honor.
Coming up.
The $3,800 is paid for his time, for travel, for his assistance, for the turnaround time.
For the agreed upon location, not the one you changed last minute.
And later.
What type of business venture is this?
Well, it is a jewelry pyramid scheme as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, it's a jewelry pyramid. So how does it work?
We're back with the case of Shannon Kelly, who brought Mike Lawson to court over ruined wedding photos.
Let me look at this contract. The contract says the photographer will not be liable in the unlikely event that a problem arises, whether due to an accident, loss of materials, acts of God, equipment, or other failures.
But
listen, I am not saying you have a right to not be disappointed. The question becomes whether Mr. Lawson breached the contract under the terms that are specified.
Your Honor, maybe take a look at the pictures.
So did you have in this contract somewhere that there should be indoor and outdoor pictures? I don't see that.
And I don't believe that that's stipulated there.
Was there any moment that you said when everybody's hair was blowing and things weren't right, did you say, I want to get some inside as well because the wind is blowing?
Well, we were going to get some inside and out, but I'm in the photos, Your Honor. When you take a look at the photos, I'm in the photos.
Let me see the photos. Let me just say this. I thought these were the proofs he sent.
No, ma'am.
And then he went back and tried to edit and create. These photos, I mean, it is super windy.
Yes.
Like I said, it's not your bridesmaid's hair. Your bridesmaid's hair is kind of blowing back. It's your hair.
Thank you.
Miss Kelly. It really is blowing straight in your face.
With all due respect, Your Honor, I did everything I could with the elements that were in play. You know, the contract stipulates, you know, if things happen. It doesn't say if she's not happy with them.
What did you get that you were happy with? Anything?
The reception photos, yes, ma'am. I did get reception photos, but those are candid shots. Those are shots, you know, that are inside of people. But the photos that you're looking at, I'm supposed to share this with my bridal party. I'm supposed to hang this up on my mantle in my home. I'm supposed to put these pictures.
I want to ask you again, Miss Kelly, when the hair is blowing in your face like this, do you ever look at him and say, I think we better go in? Because he's under the assumption you've had an outdoor wedding, you want outdoor pictures.
We even changed the venue 2 days before, which I wasn't compensated for, just because of how the outside venue that she wanted. So there was a specific point made about the outside venue.
Your Honor.
So I really didn't think it would do justice to go inside, because that's the whole reason we made a last-second change.
No,
which again was farther for me to drive. I came from Miami. It was a 4-hour drive. Now it became a 4.5-hour drive.
One at a time.
Became a 4.5-hour drive, 9 hours round trip. And mind you, I wasn't compensated for any of that. It was just a last-second change that I was expected to do.
The $3,800 is paid for his time, for travel, for his assistance, for the turnaround time.
For the agreed-upon location, not the one you changed last minute.
When I changed the location, Your Honor, please. When I changed the location, Your Honor, we discussed that.
All right, I've heard enough. Based upon the evidence I've heard, this court has found that, Mr. Lawson, you did breach the contract. And you breached the contract because Miss Kelly did not get what she bargained for.
She did, though.
No, she did not. She got pictures that did not reflect the way a bride and her bridesmaids should be depicted in what we all know is customarily wanted from wedding photos.
Yes.
I agree that you can't control the elements.
Right.
If you finish shooting, I think this contract said, what, up to 10 hours?
Yes.
Which I was there for the whole 10 hours.
And you click through, and you do not have a beautiful picture of the bride, the groom, and the wedding party. That is a part of your responsibility. Now, you are suing him for $3,800, which is the price you paid for his entire service.
Yes.
But you have admitted in court that you did receive footage that you did enjoy and you could use. It is therefore the determination of this court and the judgment of this court today that I am awarding the plaintiff $1,900, which is half of the amount that she paid for your services, because she did not get the full bargain under this contract.
She did. She just wasn't happy with it.
When I give my judgment, Mr. Lawson, that's when you stop talking. I've heard enough. And as for your countersuit, it is dismissed. Because I can see from this courtroom, you like to do a lot of whining. But what you're not doing is being accountable for the way in which you must understand this woman believed in your work. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,900.
I guess all you got to do is complain enough and you'll get what you want, right?
Oh, I'm sure next time, with your 7 years experience, you'll do a little bit better.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll work on professionalism on your end and making sure everything comes at the right time.
You can keep the little $1,900. You can keep it.
Oh, I can keep it.
And do what you got to do.
Glad. Then we did this for nothing. Cool.
Me,
keep it. Thank you.
Coming up.
What prevented you from being successful? Because you say it was a failed business venture in your petition.
She made it seem as though it was going to be very easy and it was a part-time job selling this jewelry, and it is not.
Sharon Nichols claims she lost her investment after being lured into a jewelry pyramid scheme. Vanessa Prager says it's not her fault the plaintiff doesn't know how to run a business, but she doesn't owe her a dime.
So, Ms. Mickles, you are suing Ms. Prager for $824 for a failed business venture. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And the defendant, Ms. Prager, you say it's not your fault. The plaintiff doesn't have what it takes to make money. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
What type of business venture is this?
Well, it is a jewelry pyramid scheme as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, it's a jewelry pyramid. So how does it work?
So it's a sign-up deal where you try and get other people under you to be able to make a profit. So I reached out to her and I actually purchased a pair of earrings from you because I thought, you know, she looks so glamorous all the time. Like, I could probably dazzle myself up a little bit. And she reached out to me in DM on a social media site and asked me if I wanted to join the team.
And when you DM'd her back, like, my jewelry is from this site, it's this business, this is what I do. Would you like to join?
Absolutely, and she had already ordered off of the site.
All right, so once you saw her in her cute jewelry, then you were like, I'm gonna buy some. And then once you bought some, you were like, hey, you can also be
a part of my team.
A part of the team because you're looking for extra work. What prevented you from being successful? Because you say it was a failed business venture in your petition. How did it fail?
I believe it was false advertising.
In what way?
She made it seem as though it was going to be very easy and it was a part-time job selling this jewelry, and it is not.
Coming up.
Did you set up the website, Ms. Mickles?
I tried setting up the website. However, it's very difficult if you don't know much about electronics.
We're back with a dispute between Sharon Mickles and Vanessa Prager over allegations of a pyramid scheme.
People do it part-time, Ms. Prager, or is it a full-time job?
Absolutely. That's why there's 3 different packages. If you wanted to look at our...
I'd like to see that evidence, please.
Who do I...
Who's got evidence? Ms. Prager?
Slide over.
And Ms. Mickles, you both got the same evidence?
Yes.
Well, at least you prepared.
So as you can see, there's 3 different packages. She bought the most expensive package at $4.99 and was unable to complete and to sell all of the items that she had chosen. The $50 monthly fee includes mentorship, leadership, IT, and things like that. And along with that, it comes with a website.
Did you set up the website, Ms. Mickles?
I tried setting up the website. However, it's very difficult if you don't know much about electronics or...
Did you call, like, tech support? She says IT support came with your package.
I did not receive any information on who to call for that. I actually reached out to her personally, and we probably met maybe 3 times.
But you haven't been able to sell. Why haven't you been able to sell?
Honestly, I think that the market's saturated, and we can only work with people in our region, and since we're in the same region, there's no one else to sell to, there's no one else to bring on board.
That is what the website is for, and to generate online is anywhere in the globe.
Well, it's actually the reason I'm asking for the $824 back is because of the fact of all the money that I had put into it initially. And then when I tried to confront Vanessa about my concerns about the business and wanting to potentially leave, she said in an email, and I quote, "Okay, I can end this for you."
And I meant that
Okay, what are you reading from? May I see that, please?
Yes.
These are text messages?
An email.
An email.
An email. So she said she can end what for you?
The business.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People return.
There is a buyback program with the corporation. So if you are not willing to move forward within the organization, the company will buy back the inventory without any risk to her.
And that's exactly what I was trying to do. However, immediately after receiving that email, I got an email from corporate suspiciously stating that I had copyright infringement.
And the issue with
How
that...
did you infringe on any copyrights?
We have you selling to people online. So you're doing like videos and that sort of thing. And she basically violated copyright infringement for our corporation, Bobo Bottles.
So they asked you to not have any type of painting or anything behind you. Did you know that when you did the video?
Yes, she did.
All right, so it's a lot. No, it's a lot Ms. Mickles is saying she didn't know. The problem is this. You didn't delve deep into the small print, and you didn't really stop and take the time to figure out how you do this business from step A to step Z. For that reason, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise. Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Good luck with all of your endeavors.
Thank you. You as well. I hope you
forward.
succeed in life.
Thank you, and I will.
Christopher Perez claims he got stuck with no place to live after his fiancée broke up with him right before they were supposed to move in together. Donna Walker says she discovered Mr. Perez was cheating, so he has no one to blame but himself.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Sean. Thank you. Good day, everyone. This is the case of Perez versus Walker. Mr. Perez, you are suing Ms. Walker for $2,324. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
You say that she failed to pay you money that she owes you.
That's correct, Your
Why does she owe you money?
Because she uprooted my life and left me out in the cold with nowhere to go.
Uprooted your life?
Yeah.
That's a strong statement. Take me back to what happened.
So we met at a bar, Taco Tuesday. I bought her margaritas and, tacos all night. We ended up at my place. It was a great night.
Wait a minute. We went from tacos to in the bed? Wait. That was quick. You ended up at your place after a Taco Tuesday.
Yes, she ended up at my place, Your Honor.
Okay, so she ended up at your place. So you met, you had drinks, it was a fun night. Is that right, Ms. Walker?
Kinda.
Okay.
So I did meet him at a bar for Taco Tuesday. We hit it off and we spoke all.
So it was a first date at the Taco Tuesday?
Somewhat, yeah. That was the first time we met.
All right. So first date, tacos, drinks, great time. You end up going back to his place?
Yes.
All right. And so then at his place, you all were intimate?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. Now proceed.
So we began dating. Within 3 months, I actually proposed. We were completely in love, and I proposed. A couple months after that, we're apartment hunting for a 2-bedroom because we're thinking about maybe starting a family down the line. And so I give my 30-day notice to my current apartment, and they know that I'm leaving, so they already rented it out to someone else. Then with 2 weeks before my move-out date, she dumps me. She breaks off the engagement, and I have nowhere to go.
You dumped him, Ms. Walker?
I go to his apartment to help him clean out the rest of his drawers. I come across big red panties that clearly I cannot fit in his drawer.
Big red panties?
That I cannot fit.
They weren't
correct,
yours?
Were not mine, correct, as well as feminine hygiene products that I also cannot use.
So wait a minute now, Mr. Perez, did you have some big red panties laying around your house?
My cousin stayed at my place for 2 weeks, and she just happened to leave behind a pair of panties and some of her feminine hygiene products.
Your cousin left her panties?
That I
Yes.
never heard of.
I ain't never heard of that myself. Sean, have you ever had your cousin spend the night and they leave their panties?
Nope.
Who in the gallery's cousin has ever left some panties at their house?
Exactly.
Your Honor,
Mr. Perez, okay, because, all right. So you want us to believe that your cousin slept at your house and left some red panties?
At the time, I was spending most of my time at her parents' house with her. So my little cousin, who's essentially a sister to me, even more than a cousin, she's always had a tough time of it, so I help her out when I can. She let me know, hey, I need a place to stay for a couple weeks. I said, well, I'm staying at my fiance's house with her parents for most of this time, so you can use my place. I gave her a drawer. I let her use my
And she just left
apartment.
one pair of red panties and some feminine hygiene products.
Well, she took more than that, but she just left it behind.
Did you see it before, Ms. Walker, as you were packing up and getting organized to move? Did you see the panties?
I did brush by them.
And you didn't think to tell your cousin, hey, you left stuff over here?
She does it all the time. Whenever I called her before, she just, oh, throw them out. I'll get some others.
Okay, so wait, she told you to throw them out?
No.
Well, actually, listen, the point is this. You saw the panties. You knew they weren't your girlfriend's. Why didn't you think to put them in a bag or throw them out yourself or just put them away or take them over your cousin's?
It was a very, very busy time at work. There's going through a transition, and we were apartment hunting. Every day I was either at work or apartment hunting with my fiance. I forgot about it. It just got left behind.
So you forgot about it. So question, if you've been so good to this cousin over the years, why is it this cousin isn't here to testify on your behalf about the whereabouts of their panties? Where's the cousin?
She's out of country right now for her work.
Coming up,
I'm like Santa Claus when it comes to finding a clue. I must check the list and check it twice. I'm going to find out if you're naughty or nice. I should have known he was cheating far before I even came across these panties, Your Honor.
and later,
I have known Jessica for years, and I've never seen her wear a luxury item. Sure, she's been gifted them, but she's never been wearing
this is
them.
completely wrong. She texted me to call me to borrow those handbags over and over.
we're back with the case of Christopher Perez, who brought his ex-fiancée Donna Walker to court over moving expenses after she dumped him.
All right, so Ms. Walker, I want to go to you because I want to understand this. So you're in there, you're supposedly helping your boyfriend pack up his place. You're not snooping, or are you snooping?
I'm not snooping at
Because
this
you're
point.
really thinking you're about to move into another place together, I'm going to help him pack.
Yes.
You see these red panties and these products, what do you say?
So first, when I come across the panties, I screamed his name. I said, Chris, get in here. He comes into his bedroom and we start to talk, and I asked him exactly, I said, who red panties are these? Because they're not mine.
That's not true, Your Honor.
He says, oh, they're my cousin's Tracy. Who is Tracy is what I want to understand, because I'm his fiance and we've been together. We're at this point in our relationship, right? He has met my family. I've allowed him to come into my family's home, my parents' home, but he couldn't introduce me to his family, whom is living in his apartment. So at this point, I feel like he's giving me an excuse that does not make sense. At this point, it's a lie.
All right, so you were within the confines of the relationship when your cousin stayed, and you never mentioned it to Ms. Walker.
That's correct, Your Honor.
You know this don't sound right. Okay, so Ms. Walker, you see the panties. Chris, get in here. Then what happens?
So at this point, Your Honor, I'm fed up. One thing for sure, two things for certain. I'm like Santa Claus when it comes to finding a clue. I must check the list and check it twice. I'm going to find out if you're naughty or nice. I should have known he was cheating far before I even came across these panties, Your Honor. Not only did he take phone calls in the bathroom, or he would go outside sometimes, but then when I asked him, I pressured him about, random women leaving heart eyes underneath his post, he would just, make excuses. When I confronted him, he'll say, oh no, those are just my female friends. They're just like that. And so, I honestly really did love this man. And so even still, I wrote it out, I loved him, and we were in the process of building a family. And so at the time—
A family? Y'all had just had tacos 90 days ago.
The chemistry was unbelievable. I'm telling you, it was one of those things where I felt like it was love at first sight. He was so sweet.
It was
kind.
lust at first sight. That's why you ended up at his house and in the bed after these tacos, because it couldn't be building a family. And listen, I will say this. I have known people who met and never left each other's side after they met, stayed together. I know that happens, but you're also saying you saw consistent red flags that you chose to ignore. All right, so that's a problem. I want to get to the issue involving this money that you say she owes you. So you're going to move out. You say you tell your apartment complex, I'm leaving. Give them 30 days. They're gone. And then all of a sudden, the red panty gate happens.
Yes, Your Honor.
And now they've already rented your place out.
Yes, Your Honor.
Why do you say she owes you money?
Because I would still be in that apartment if we weren't apartment hunting. She insisted that we move fast, that we get our own place, a 2-bedroom place. I wanted to take my time, find the right place, but she and her parents were just constantly pressuring me to, move forward, get a place together, get married. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to please her. I'm trying to please her family. And by the way, these calls that I'm taking outside or in the bathroom, it's due to my work. I work in human resources, so I deal with sensitive information, personal information about people. I'm not supposed to be talking about this kinds of stuff or listening to this kind of information with someone else in earshot. That's why I go out and have privacy when I take these work calls.
Okay, so let's get to the money. Do you have any evidence of the damages you've incurred because of this decision by Ms. Walker to not move into the next place?
Yes, Your Honor. I have 2 invoices here.
Let me see them, please.
I'll take all of those.
Tell me what these invoices say, Mr. Perez.
One is the receipt from the security deposit for a new one-bedroom apartment.
All
which
right.
I
Whose
have
name's
found.
on the lease of the new place?
Mine.
Just yours?
Yes.
All right. So that means she didn't have any responsibility for the new place.
But it's completely due to her that I'm moving in the first place.
Is it due to her or is it due to the red panties?
Well, they were my cousin Tracy's panties. If
Which
she would have
she's
just
never
calmed
met
down.
and never heard from. So anyway, so you've got how much for that? I see $434 for the moving services.
Yes,
It costs you that much to move.
Yes, Your Honor.
And then $1,900 for the security deposit for the new place.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's in your name.
Yes, Your
And
Honor.
still only your name.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. It's the judgment of this court. Mr. Perez, you got caught up in a situation that you could have handled better. And sometimes our biggest lessons in life cost us. And when they cost us, we learn the lessons. Lessons can be very expensive. This instance, this lesson for you cost you $2,324. Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise. Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Next time, I would certainly have told her about my cousin staying. That would have cleared everything up.
I feel like justice was served. Him, those nasty panties, and feminine hygiene products can kiss my behind where the sun doesn't shine. I am done with this relationship and I'm moving on. Case closed.
Coming up.
I texted her that my boyfriend was moving in, which is why I needed this space. And after that, she was like, okay, give me a week, I'll figure out my schedule. Well, 2 more weeks passed, she didn't say anything.
Jessica Liu claims her friend donated her stored belongings before she could get the luxury items back. Lily Matthews says it wouldn't have happened if Ms. Liu had picked up her stuff on time. Ms. Matthews is countersuing for $450.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Liu versus Matthews. Ms. Liu, you are suing Ms. Matthews for $1,500 for the loss of personal belongings. And Ms. Matthews, you are countersuing Ms. Liu for $450 for storage fees. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'll start with you, plaintiff.
I'm here to sue my ex-best friend here because I stored a couple of boxes over her place thinking I could trust her, but she donated one of my bags full of expensive luxury items to the charity, and now I could not get my items back, so I just want my money back.
Why did you need to store the items over there?
Because I just got a new job, and I need to move to an apartment that is much more closer to my company, and the apartment, my new apartment, is much smaller than the old one, so I need the extra room to store all my stuff.
How long was the stuff there?
So we agreed upon 2 months. However, she went past the 2 months, and I had
Did you agree on 2 months, Ms. Liu?
That was the original plan, and she said it is okay for me to put the stuff over there for a couple of more weeks, and I was texting her. I actually have proof over here.
I'd like to see it. So we're at two months and 2 weeks. You gave her a couple more weeks, Ms. Matthews?
Yeah, I gave her a few more weeks because we're friends. I wasn't in a rush to get it out of my apartment.
2 or few? 2 different things.
Sorry?
2 more weeks or a few more weeks?
A few
That's
more
2
weeks.
different things.
Yeah, a few more weeks. It
so
continued.
you say a few more weeks you gave her.
We discussed 2 months. I texted her that my boyfriend was moving in, which is why I needed this space. And after that, she was like, okay, give me a week, I'll figure out my schedule. Well, 2 more weeks passed, she didn't say anything. I reached out to her. I have the evidence.
I'd like to see that,
total
please.
of 3 or 4 times.
Coming up.
She said she had put all my stuff aside on the aisle, but I only saw 3 boxes.
I told her that I had donated it to the charity by mistake, which I of course felt horrible about, so I offered to pay her $400 for the box.
Back with a dispute between Jessica Liu and Lily Matthews over luxury items that were donated to charity.
Did you know what was in the boxes?
At the time, I did not. She told me they were luxury items. That's all I knew.
I see the text where you say, it's been over 2 months now. I really need you to get this stuff out. You say, Ms. Liu, I can't come this week because you have a huge launch. And then you say, all right, no problem. Just come by sometime the following week when you come back. What happened, Ms. Liu? You showed up to get your boxes, and what happens?
She said she had put all my stuff aside on the aisle, but I only saw 3 boxes. And then I dug all her closet storage room, her garage, and there was no 4th box.
I told her that I had donated it to the charity by mistake, which I of course felt horrible about, so I offered to pay her $400 for the box because I didn't know what was in it. I also had no idea someone was keeping luxury items at my house. I have known Jessica for years, and I've never seen her wear a luxury item. Sure, she's been gifted them, but she's never been wearing
this is
them.
completely wrong. She texted me to call me to borrow those handbags over and over.
Regardless, she
knows
didn't
that.
accept the $400 I offered her. She didn't accept it. The box was still missing. She said that it
wouldn't
wasn't
cover-
enough for all the items, which again, I didn't know what items she was keeping at my house.
Ms. Matthews, you say you're countersuing for $450 in storage fees.
That is correct.
Why, after you tell her that you'll keep the stuff, she doesn't owe you any money, and she can keep it for 2 more weeks. Matter of fact, you can just come the week when you come back, and then she does come the week when she comes back. Why does she owe you storage fees now?
I let her do this for free, and what does she do? She takes me to court. I just want the money that she would have been charged in the first place if she had gone to a storage unit.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
When you do a favor for someone, there needs to be clear, concise parameters set, and it's almost better to demand that they honor those parameters than to let something string on and on and on. I'm gonna be very honest with you, Ms. Lou. You didn't care nothing about that stuff in your friend's garage. If you really valued them, you would find a place in your apartment for those things. On the other hand, Ms. Matthews, you agreed to it. So I don't know why you think you can charge storage fees for something that you agreed to. Neither one of you have a case or a leg to stand on. The plaintiff's claim is dismissed. The defendant's counterclaim is dismissed. I don't know if this friendship is dismissed, but you all need to grow up and learn how to be responsible for your things and how to communicate better so this does not happen again. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled. Both cases are dismissed.
I'm just glad this friendship's done.
I guess friendship is overrated after all.
Evelyn Royce claims a defective sleep app not only caused her to nod off while teaching, it got her suspended without pay. Amelia Nova says her app is highly rated and well reviewed, so it's unlikely the app is faulty.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Royce versus Nova. Ms. Royce, you are suing Ms. Nova for $3,800. You claim that her app caused you to be suspended without pay. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Ms. Nova, you say that no one else complained about the app but Ms. Royce.
Exactly.
All right, what kind of app is this?
This is a Yanni app, and yes.
Yanni app, as in yawn?
Yes.
Okay.
And so what it does is I am a school teacher, and I recently went through a past divorce, and I was feeling really sluggish, and I wasn't sleeping well at night. And so what I was doing was I was trying to find an app to help me sleep at night.
All right, so you found the Yanni app, downloaded it. Did it work? What do you do? What do you do on the Yanni app, Ms. Nova? How did you design this?
Thank you for asking, Your Honor. So the Yanni app is an app I created, and at night there are recordings that help you go to sleep. By listening to the recordings that I recorded of yawning, your body starts to actually relax. And then we have a really cool feature that is for the Yanni app that we also have daytime yawns as well. So it actually helps perk you up during the day because, you know, we all yawn when we're kind of tired and bored. That's because that's your brain trying to get some oxygen in, some carbon dioxide out, and it's kind of speeding up your heart rate too. So it's a very revolutionary app.
Oh, so you're saying, learn something new every day at We the People. So a daytime yawn doesn't just signify that you're tired, it's the body's response to wanting to get pepped up or revved up?
Exactly, yeah, it helps speed up your heart rate and it kind of revs you back up. That's why we all yawn when we're kind of bored or kind of in a slow moment. It's your body in its own way being like, okay, this is when I have to wake back up.
I did not know that. All right, so Ms. Royce, you purchased the Yanni app.
I did.
Did it work for you?
Well, here's what happened is I was looking for something, and so I purchased the trial for $3.99 a month on the trial basis, and then I downloaded it, and then what happened was I did it for a couple days, And in those days, but nighttime, I wasn't sleeping. I was taking medication before, and it was hurting my stomach, and I was trying to sleep for more hours. So I started using the Yanni app, and it worked for the nighttime.
So if you're using it before bed, how does it make you miss your pay from your job, presumably?
Okay, so what happened was I was taking this medication. I went to a sleep clinic, and they said it was all stress from my divorce. I was just getting divorced, and I wasn't having a good enough amount of sleep. And so I'm a teacher, right? I'm a school teacher. And so I tried to use it during the day. I was drinking a ton of coffee, like 3 cups.
You were doing the daytime version.
Yes.
Which was supposed to be the version that perks you up.
Right. Okay, so what happened to me was the first day I went and I used the product, and it was making me a little sleepy, but I was able to get through the first day. The second day wasn't as, I was a little bit sleepy, but I still was getting through the day. And the third day it was just teaching all day. And the third day they were giving presentations, and I was using the app, and I was going through the process, and I was a little bit tired, but not totally. So the fourth day came up, and I was giving tests, and I must adjust after I had done exactly how I had done the days prior. I did exactly the same thing. I fell asleep.
In class?
In class. And one of my students filmed me and put it on social media.
Oh, all right.
So it was all over social media as the sleeping teacher.
So you're the sleeping teacher.
Yes.
Then I'm sure that went viral.
Oh, it went viral. It had 5,000 views. And then what happened was I got called into the principal's office.
All right. So you got in trouble for sleeping on the job.
Correct.
How many times? One time?
One time.
And they suspended you?
And they suspended me without pay for a whole month.
Wow.
Yes. That was $3,800 was the
harsh.
total amount.
Coming up.
I have a 4.8 star rating for our app with over 8,000 reviews. So it feels kind of out of left field that all of a sudden the app doesn't work for Ms. Royce here.
And later.
So the next time I seen her after that was 3 hours before the show. She tells me, she's like, I want a tearaway dress. And I'm like, I already made your dress. So what more do you want me to?
We're back with the case of Evelyn Royce, who blames Amelia Nova for causing her to fall asleep at work and get suspended without pay.
All right, so you lost $3,800.
Correct.
And you believe the defendant owes you that money?
Correct.
Why?
Well, on the branding of her product, the app, it says that it keeps you awake.
Let me see that,
keeps
please.
you refreshed.
Take all of your
Oh, yeah. So here's the other evidence I have as well. I'm giving you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. So you say her app advertises itself as a way to keep you awake and keep you fresh. Okay, Yanni, get the best night's sleep and feel energized during the day with just one app. All right, so you can go to sleep and you can stay up.
Correct.
So, Ms. Nova, you are, I'm sure, aware of your marketing and how you advertise your app. You raise your hand. Is there something you'd like to offer?
Well, I also have evidence to give. May I submit it to the court
Please,
now,
what
Your Honor?
evidence is that, ma'am?
I gave the bailiff recordings earlier if we would like to listen to some of the yawning, but in addition, that piece of paper right there is some of my reviews. I have a 4.8 star rating for our app with over 8,000 reviews. So it feels kind of out of left field that all of a sudden the app doesn't work for Ms. Royce here.
Did anybody bring any evidence of how this works?
Yes, so I gave the bailiff evidence earlier today. It's sound recordings. We can play the nighttime and the daytime yawning recordings.
I'd like to see that, please. The video that was submitted to the court. Is this daytime or nighttime?
This is for the daytime, so you're not supposed to yawn.
So is this the app that made you fall asleep in the middle of the day, Ms. Royce?
Absolutely, it's the app. And
It's what she's accusing of making her fall asleep during the day. You know, she also said she quit coffee cold turkey. So how is my app held responsible when maybe it's the coffee intake, or perhaps she played the nighttime one during the day?
I've never fallen asleep, and I didn't have a coffee intake before I started doing this, and so before the divorce, and so.
Is this your first divorce?
It is my first divorce.
Okay, so you never got divorced before either.
No.
Yeah, that'll make you tired.
That's what I'm saying.
Honey, take it from me.
It is.
But listen, Ms. Nova, I want to understand from you before I rule on this. You do say that this app, right, this is how you're marketing it, is going to help refresh you. So what do you offer for clients where it just doesn't work for them?
Well, again, this is an alternative for people that have tried everything else, like me. You know, the alarm across the room, the being groggy all day, the sleeping pills that make you have the alarm across the room.
But if it doesn't work, is there a money-back guarantee? Like,
that's why we have a $3.99 trial period month. That's all the money she lost on the actual app.
Well, that's not true. I lost $3,800
was nothing to do with the app.
All right. Well, this is the issue.
And then also, I just wanted to tell you, I did give you the, my principal sent me that letter where I got in trouble for, you know, falling asleep, and the parents called the school, and so did they emailed them as well. And I put that in there, the letter from the principal as well.
Yeah, I did see that. I saw that. And listen, you fell asleep in the class. I mean, there's nothing to refute. You've admitted it in open court. The issue becomes, as a teacher, right? Right. What are your responsibilities, right? What are you being irresponsible to use an app like this during class time? Bottom line, is this your fault or this Ms. Nova's fault?
Well, the branding on that did state that it was going to refresh me, and that's what I followed.
And you said it worked immediately. At first, the first 7 days, you were sleeping at night.
I worked. Yes, I did say that.
No. There's nothing really to fight about here, because you purchased an app that did work for you in some respects, right? Every app is not going to solve every problem. The problem is you utilized the app at a time when you were responsible for a class on your job.
Correct.
I believe that there was a more responsible time to try to use an app that generates yawns, right? Even if it would have refreshed you, it is of my opinion that I don't want my son's teacher yawning during a test, during things, just consistently yawning over and over again, because whether it's that to wake you up or not, it looks like you are not interested. It signifies that you're not paying attention. And so to choose to use the app while you're teaching it in class, I don't think was very responsible. I think this is something you maybe should have used on your break, when you were on the break room, or gone to your car. Maybe tried to use it then. Used it at lunch when you had time by yourself. Because trying to use it in your classroom, for me, is just the wrong time. And the fact that you fell asleep, I do not think it has anything to do with the app. I have to say that I think it has to do with just the mental struggle and trauma you're going through with a divorce. I respect the fact that you tried everything you could, but you can't blame the Yawny app because you fell asleep in class. Do you understand?
Yes.
For that reason, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I'm sorry about the loss, but it's just not something my app should be held accountable for, okay?
What if a doctor was using that during surgery?
What if a doctor knows how to read the
instructions? That it's going to keep him awake as he's in the middle of surgery.
I'm sorry about your divorce. I'm sorry about your paychecks, but Yanni's not held accountable for that. I really am so sorry, but I hope you get a good rest somehow.
Please follow me out.
Coming up.
You sent the money before he ever did the dress?
I trusted him, Your Honor, she sent me the $200 after the dress was already made and it was completed to her liking at the moment. She called me last minute to tell me that she wanted to tear away.
So you thought you were done?
Rachel Meadows claims a custom dress for a special event was poorly made, so she deserves her money back. Courtney Whitlock says Ms. Meadows demanded last-minute changes to the design, so she has no one to blame but herself.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Meadows versus Whitlock. Ms. Meadows, you are suing Mr. Whitlock for $200 for a refund, you say, for poorly constructed dress. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And Mr. Whitlock, you say that the plaintiff purchased the wrong material.
Correct.
All right, so this is the dress?
Yes.
Tell me what happened, Ms. Meadows.
So I am an influencer. I hired this guy to make me a dress, make me look nice. I had this event to go to for the special dance. It's called Chicago Dance Chicago.
So that's the dress you got?
Yes.
Do you have a picture of what you asked for?
Yes, Your Honor, I do. It's right
Let me see that,
here.
please, Sean.
Thank you.
So how did you find Mr. Whitlock? You saw him online, or he was referred to you?
Yeah, he was referred to me, Your Honor. His mentor, I believe. I used to work with him for many years. I thought that he would be able to make it happen.
So this is the dress you wanted?
Yes.
So, Mr. Whitlock, I want to hear from you. You got this picture first.
So this is the original dress we constructed.
Okay.
So we had 3 times that we met up. So she was supposed to have a third fitting just to make sure all the measurements, everything was good. It felt really comfortable and tight, like how she wanted it, because she was going to be dancing in it. So I wanted to make sure she was able to move around. So with that fitting, she did not show up. So the next time I seen her after that was 3 hours before the show. She tells me, she's like, I want a tearaway dress. And I'm like, I already made your dress. So what more do you want me to do?
Coming up.
Well, does that dress tear away?
Yes.
Sean, tear that away. Let's see how that tears away.
We're back with the case of Rachel Meadows, who brought Courtney Whitlock to court over a poorly constructed dress.
Did you all have a contract? Because I don't see anything in here. Do you all have a written contract? Where is the communication?
Everything was through call.
Yeah, we talked on the phone a lot, and we did, like she said, we did have an invoice, but that's
all right, so I see the invoice. It's $200, and you sent the money.
Yes.
You sent the money before he ever did the dress?
I trusted him,
Your Honor, she sent me the $200 after the dress was already made and it was completed to her liking at the moment. She called me last minute to tell me that she wanted to tear away.
So you thought you were done with the dress?
Yes.
You had gotten the money?
Yeah.
And you thought she was satisfied?
Yeah.
Is that true, Ms. Meadows?
That is correct.
The dress was done, you were satisfied, you hand him the $200, you had that dress. And then, within these 3 hours, you determined, I really wanted to tear away. How can I do that? He says you're gonna need Velcro with adhesive.
And he said he can make it happen.
Right.
That's more important.
Well, does that dress tear away?
Yes, but it,
Sean,
I can show
tear
you.
that away.
I'm like, I can show you.
Let's see how that tears away. Ooh.
And leaves that ugly white adhesive, or like the Velcro tape right there in the middle of the dress.
Girl, that's what you gave me to put on.
Wait a minute.
You told me to give it to you.
Well, I didn't think you were gonna pick up that little cheap crap.
I don't know why you had a good enough dress that you were happy with, that you paid for, and it sounds like, that's why I asked you to solidify it. Sounds like what you paid him for, he delivered. Because you paid him for the dress you said you were satisfied with.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Ultimately, this is a situation where, Ms. Meadows, listen, I think, especially women, when we get a dress made, we got a lot of ideas, right? Our ideas, right, often have to be tempered by our expert or our seamstress's understanding of what we want to do.
Correct, yeah.
Sometimes you want things, but you don't know how they functionally can come to life and within your budget. $200 dress, you had a solid dress that you approved of for $200. Adding a full tearaway moment is going to be another layer that honestly was supposed to cost you some more money. At the end of the day, I don't believe that you owe the plaintiff the $200 back, but I do believe you lost far more than $200, right, in your reputation by letting a design like that be shown in public. Don't do that again. You understand?
Okay.
Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Next time you gotta do better, because...
You gotta do better.
No,
Everybody
don't
gonna
buy
see this
cheap
dress.
stuff next time.
Oh!
Sir, could you please pick that up?
You're cheap.
John Enterman claims his house sitter helped herself to his expensive wine without permission and refuses to pay for the bottle. Tanya Realton says she was told to make herself at home, but didn't realize the wine cellar was off limits.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Enterman versus Realton. Mr. Enterman, you are suing Ms. Realton for $2,038 for the cost of wine. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Ms. Realton, you say you were not aware of the value.
Correct.
All right, tell the court what happened.
Well, Tanya here is my house sitter. I've used her on several occasions. Never been a problem. I went to Mexico on a business trip. I came back, everything seemed to be in order, and a few days later it was my birthday. I went down to the wine cellar to get my favorite wine that I purchased in Bordeaux, Chateau Lafite, French wine, red wine, valued at $2,000. It was for a celebration, and I couldn't find it. And I looked in the recycling bin, and there was the empty bottle. I called Tanya, and she admitted to drinking my wine without permission. And so now I'm here to get the money back. She's refusing to give me the $2,000 for the wine.
All right, so you were house sitting, Miss Realton.
Yes.
And you do this often. Mr. Interman said he's used you many times.
Right.
About
yeah.
how many times would you say you did house sitting?
This was
for
the
him?
third time for him,
For
Your
a third
Honor.
time. All right. And on this particular time, you decided to have wine. What are the parameters when you house sit? What are the rules?
It depends per family and per house, but John has always been really generous with me. He always said, like, make yourself at home when I came to house sit for him. He would give me caviar. He's offered me, like, meats and cheeses from Europe, chocolate from Europe that had real gold in it. Like, he always said, like, use the pool, use the gym, use the jacuzzi, eat my food, drink my drink, do whatever you want to do. Make yourself at home is what he always said.
He would say, drink my drinks.
He always said, make yourself at home.
But did
know?
he use the word drink my drink? Did he say, eat whatever's in the fridge? If you want wine, go ahead and drink it. Did he say that specifically?
Not specifically that, but he always said,
So what would he
my
say?
house is your house, make yourself at home.
All right. And so when you say make yourself at home, Mr. Interman, what did you mean?
Simple, basic human etiquette, you know. if I don't draw a line in the sand, you know, you could take the candlesticks, you know. So be at home. She's done it like she's done before. Simply go in the fridge, eat what you want to eat, stay in the master bedroom.
Stay in the...
See?
Yeah, stay in the master bedroom, yeah.
Yeah.
I allow her to do that. But nothing about drinking.
So you don't have a guest room? Why wouldn't she just stay in a guest room?
The house is under construction. The house, let me repeat that, Truth, the house is under construction. She was aware of that. And so I said, you can use that bedroom. Make yourself at home. Eat that. You can eat the food that's in the fridge. There's no problem. But there was never a mention of going to my wine cellar and drink my expensive wine.
Your Honor,
where was your wine
out?
cellar located?
It's in the kitchen. It's a parallel.
Yeah, that it is.
Yeah, it's parallel to the kitchen. It's about, I would say, maybe about 20 feet from the kitchen.
So, Mr. Interman, how many bottles of wine do you have?
Oh, I'd estimate over 100 bottles, Your Honor.
Over 100 bottles. And it's adjacent to the kitchen area?
Yes.
All right. And so the last two times she'd been there, she'd never drank any of your wine?
Never.
Did she drink any of your alcohol, period?
No.
You'd never had a drink before, Ms. Realton?
No, but here's the thing. I just turned 21, so I wasn't legally allowed to drink alcohol until now. So I'm not going to do anything unprofessional and drink when I'm not allowed to drink while I'm at someone's house. So I follow the legal rules. Now I am 21, so I can drink. And I know he has a lot of wine. I've not had wine before. I've had like tequila and cocktails. Like I can't afford wine. Like box wine is what I would drink. So I just wanted to try it with dinner. And it's right across from all the food in the pantry. So I didn't think it was like a separate place that I wasn't allowed into.
And when he said, make yourself at home, you figured you could just eat and drink whatever you wanted.
Yeah, as if I'm at home. If I'm at home, I go into the pantry and I can pick whatever I want in the pantry.
But you're not at home.
But he said to be at home.
Coming up.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart. I don't know where that argument was going. It went up, it went around, it went back down. I said, okay.
And later.
A genuine wine is what I try to like abbreviate. So I use wine as a coloration for the bags to give it a natural color because I don't want to use any quote-unquote animal products.
We're back with the case of John Interman, who brought his house sitter Tanya Realton to court over an expensive bottle of wine.
Make yourself at home means be comfortable in this space, right?
Yeah.
At home, you might jump all over your furniture. You might dirty your bathroom up and decide, oh, I'll clean it later. If he came back and his house was a mess, he wouldn't deem you to be a great house sitter.
Correct.
Correct?
But, yes.
So there are very unspoken boundaries to make yourself at home. However, if you're 21 and you're curious and you're just there and you see all of this wine, let me ask you something. What made you choose this particular bottle?
I like the picture on it. It had like a castle and it sounded French. And
then let me ask you this. Was there more than one bottle of this particular wine, or was that the only one?
I didn't really know. I wasn't like comparing them that much. I think there was just one, but it also was kind of like in the center.
It was in the center?
Yeah.
All right. And so my next question to you is, before you drank it, you obviously didn't use your phone. This is the thing. Y'all young people use your phone all day long, looking up a whole bunch of nonsense. Did you ever stop and say, let me Google this bottle of wine and see what it's worth before I drink it? Because it's obvious if a person has an entire wine room that they are a collector of wines. Did it ever dawn on you that, well, he collects wine. Let me make sure this isn't an expensive one.
It didn't dawn on me, honestly. What I was thinking about when I saw the wine, I saw the picture, I saw the name on it, and I saw it was 2010. And the one thing I know about wines is that the older they get, like the more expensive they are, or whatever. So 2010 isn't that long ago. So I was like, it's about 13 years old. A 13-year-old isn't like a grown adult, you know? That's a kid. So that's like a young bottle of wine, right? So it shouldn't be expensive. I never knew a bottle of wine could be over $2,000.
Bless your heart. Bless your heart. I don't know where that argument was going. It went up, it went around, it went back down. I said, okay. You know what? I think, truthfully, you just stated the facts. You had no idea what the bottle of wine was worth. And ultimately, it is for this court to decide, in an instance like this, what would a reasonable person do in this circumstances, right? What would a reasonable person infer when someone tells them to make themselves at home, right? I mean, I've said that a whole bunch of times in my house and still be looking like, make yourself at home, but don't use the decorative towels. There's still little things you don't do even when you're making yourself at home.
But that's like common knowledge. Like you're just, I think if there's like a boundary, if you didn't want me to drink that wine, lock it up. Don't have it front and center where that's where you go when you go into the room. You see that one.
Ms. Realton, I'm so glad you're doing house sitting and not going to law school because you're making it worse. You're saying that the wine was front and center, that it was centered in the thing. You think of a person that collects, it's probably where maybe they keep the wines that they're most proud of. They want to see them. This is what they want to show. It's a collection. It's as if you went into an area that you knew nothing about. You did no due diligence. You just kind of wanted to satisfy a whim of a desire that you had because you're 21 and you're excited to drink wine. There are many ways this could have happened, right? That maybe it would feel like, you know what? It was just a terrible accident and it was unfortunate. I think the fact that this was a collection, the fact in your own testimony, you said that there was only one bottle of that wine centered in a wine collection, that a reasonable person in that circumstance would take a picture of that bottle, send it to Mr. Enterman and say, do you mind if I have some of this wine? And it's unfortunate because you're a young person and Lord knows you ain't got $2,338. But sometimes when you make errors, you need to be responsible for those errors so you learn how to not make those errors again. Growing up, you begin to learn what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. And so through this process, I hope you gain discernment. I am certain that Mr. Enterman will give you a payment plan to help you pay it off. But this is a lesson, as the kids say, you gonna learn today. Judgment for the plaintiff for $2,038. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $2,038.
Let that be a lesson to you in your house sitting in future, okay?
Well, it certainly will, John. I'm sorry I drank your wine. I really didn't mean to, okay?
I'll make a payment plan, but please take this lesson to heart like the lady said.
Coming up.
Vegan bag, vegan shoes. The prices are comparable with other high-end items. That's just what it is. I don't make the rules, I just shop.
Cynthia Addison claims she thought she purchased a genuine leather fanny pack, but says what she got was a poor imitation. David Garcia says his website states that the product is made from high-quality vegan material.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Addison versus Garcia. Ms. Addison, you are suing Mr. Garcia for $580. You want a full refund on an online purchase. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Defendant Mr. Garcia, you say that the plaintiff didn't read the fine print.
That's right.
So, Ms. Addison, you bought a bag from an online store that Mr. Garcia owned?
That's correct.
Okay. You were looking for what kind of bag?
A fanny. Myself and like 10, 12 of my closest friends are going on this glamping trip, but I feel deceived by his marketing and his fine print.
What about his marketing was deceiving to you?
Well, I mean, the print is so small, and he uses a word called like...
Did you bring evidence of that?
Yes, I did.
I'll look at that.
I'll take
Just hand me all of your evidence.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
It's called like Gen Wine or something, which I read as genuine, like anyone would.
Act Now Fanny Pack Closeout Sale, and it says Gen Wine, Genwine, in quotes. Vegan high leather, leather. It has Leath and then an apostrophe and then R. Why are you using the word genuine, Mr. Garcia?
I thought genuine was a creative wordplay to kind of like attract customers. So genuine is actually a genuine wine is what I try to like abbreviate. So I use wine as a coloration for the bags to give it a natural color because I don't want to use any quote unquote animal products. So which is why I run a vegan online site.
Coming up.
When they said it was vegan high quality leather, why is it you didn't understand that it wouldn't be real leather?
We're back with the dispute between Cynthia Addison and David Garcia over deceptive advertising.
It says underneath vegan high quality leather.
That's right, exactly.
So when they said it was vegan high quality leather, why is it you didn't understand that it wouldn't be real leather?
I just don't really understand. The price threw me off as well because...
How much did you pay for it?
$580, but at full price, because it was half off. This vegan bag made of allegedly corks and fruit is over $1,000.
Well, this vegan leather stuff, it's expensive because of the craftsmanship that goes into it.
That's right. Thank you, Judge. Yes.
So, I mean, I'm just being frank. That's true. So you misread and didn't really understand the advertising. So it's a cute little bag. You know, I wouldn't say that I paid $580 for it.
Right.
Did you ask him, could you exchange it for something else?
He refuses. I mean, it was really embarrassing for me because everybody could tell that it was fake and it's just not as durable as it claims. And he says that I don't care about the environment, but like I literally drive an electric car.
But
and
it's
I've tried
meant to be fake. It's meant to be fake.
But I didn't know that.
Right, because you didn't really understand when something says vegan, high quality leather. I mean, listen, everybody doesn't buy these things. For those of us who do maybe eat, I'm not a vegan, but I do enjoy a lot of vegan meals. And you see, at the grocery store when they make the little chicken, then they put the apostrophe in the end.
Wordplay,
It's a way, it's a marketing wordplay to make people understand that these items, which do not harm animals, can be easily interchanged with everyday life, everyday needs, everyday foods. It is a marketing technique.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
If you go in any high-end store right now and pick up a vegan bag, vegan shoes, the prices are comparable with other high-end items. That's just what it is. I don't make the rules, I just shop. So, Ms. Addison, it's unfortunate. I'm gonna give you your bag back. I realize you probably, in hindsight, wouldn't have paid that much money for it. And that's one of the dangers of ordering online. In this case, you're unfortunately stuck with that bag because it was on clearance. The return policy was clear. The fact that it was vegan leather was also clear. And your mistake was your mistake to own and to take responsibility for. Unfortunately, at this time, the court has to dismiss your claim, judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
Nice bag.
You can take it back.
Just
No, I'm
sell it on
not
eBay.
going to use it.
Just sell it.
Literally, please. I don't want to
Final
look at
sale.
it. Like, I don't want